Sure.
Thank you.
Kelly Greavy,
Here.
Liz Lasky,
Here.
Karen Mao,
Here.
Tim O'Connor,
Here.
Karen Peltola, absent, John Beach,
Here.
and excuse Lady Rozga.
Yes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes of the last meeting?
Yep.
Any changes to the minutes or a motion to approve them as read?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve the minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved. The next is citizens, pardon me?
Amend the agenda.
Oh, yes. At this point, I would like to ask if we could amend the agenda. There's two items that were brought up that need to be added to it. And the two things are the amphitheater feasibility study. Bill had requested if one of us would like to be on that committee, and it's just a feasibility study. And then the other one is the possibility or what to do with the tennis courts at Robinson and A Street. So we're gonna,
And community feedback.
and we'll add community feedback, the comments that Kelly had mailed out to everybody or emailed. Is there a motion to amend the minutes to those three items? We have to have
A motion?
yes.
I make the
Second.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can amend the minutes as stated. Thank you, Karen. The next thing is opportunity for citizens and public comment. Devin, is it
Yeah, hi.
ask?
Thanks for the opportunity. So I made this little bare bones kind of handout, and I didn't have an opportunity to print it, but I did send it to Katie, and I'm hoping that you could either receive it after and take a look at it. Just some prices and some information. Basically, why I'm here is I would like discussion, open discussion, for the opportunity for maybe some different trash solutions down by the park. I mean, all the parks maybe, but my concern is Douglas Park area, First Street Beach. So the high winds, and I have a lot of pictures, but the high winds take those trashes right out. Trash is all over and it's getting in the water. You know, and now with the hotel, there's trash from the hotel as well. But it just seems like we could do something better with the trash receptacles that are down there currently. I added a bunch, and this is from one vendor that I just quick Googled, just some more heavier weight, durable trash that wouldn't tip over in a high wind situation. Are you able to pull it up or no? No. Oh, you don't have
I'm
it?
not. I
Okay.
was looking for,
Okay. So I have some ideas here. There are, ideally what I would envision is there's compactable trash, so it's a heavy duty and it compacts trash, solar powered. You could have a lot more in there. Now we're looking at a hotel coming in, there's gonna be probably at least quadruple the amount of people down there, I would assume, right? So we're gonna have a lot more trash down there. And I was just talking to Jeff, and I know you said there's maybe some money in the budget to consider some new trash. And then obviously recycling. You know, it'd be really nice to see a recycling. I know it would require manpower to remove the recycling and bring it to what we currently have, which I don't know if that's obtainable or not, but it leaves an impact on families that care about recycling. It does for me when I travel, you know. And there are other benefits to it. I think it leaves that impression and it looks better. So I did write concerns on here would be staff to sort and transport recycling. There is possible funding through Eagle, so there's a recycling infrastructure grant. No match is required. Apps are due by May 16th. It's a first come, first serve, and this is for recycling only. But that's an option if that was something we could consider. And then if you could see the images, there's a lot of side-by-side large receptacles with the trash and the recycling next to it. So it'd be really nice to see something like that down there.
Okay.
So, yeah, just food for thought, and I thought this is where I'd start.
Yes.
I've been here 6 years now, moved here, and something I've always thought about would be nice to see down there.
Okay, I should have asked before, what was your name and your
My name's
address?
Devin Wagner, and I live at 475 First Street.
And I can forward the emails to all the
Thank you.
commission. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll set it on
There's
to
some
you.
ideas, there's some pricing there. I don't know what's in the budget. You know, obviously, there's the grant options for the recycling.
so before the meeting started, we got introduced and I was just giving her a little bit of background on the refuse system and recycling and so forth. I have it on the screen. If you turn on your individual computer screens, you'll be able to see this as well. But I was just showing that we have, in our grant request, we've got different trash receptacles and selected for the parks and are going to be placing orders for those soon. The recycling is something that we had not discussed prior and something that we could discuss in the future. One little update on that is MCC did receive a grant for recycling, and they plan on moving their recycling facility from the south side of the school behind it to the north property along 12th Street. And they plan on doing a large concrete pad area. I think there's some large like bin areas and then kind of a pole barn to assist in safety, movement, and hopefully to reduce the abuse on the fiber, the cardboard recycling side of that. So that's actually a council agenda for next Tuesday.
Katie, I got it. Get an extra copy.
And I pulled this up because I was looking to see if I had a picture of the images that we had selected, but I don't have that with me. Sure.
Just go.
Well, appreciate the.
Thank you.
The
Thanks for the
input
time.
and
Thanks for your time.
the concern to the board. Anytime you have a concern, please feel free, because we do want community input and we want community input and volunteers, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any correspondence? Is that where, actually Laney's is more of a report. We'll save that for reports than correspondence. Okay, committee reports. Tim, concessions, First Street Beach.
Well, evidently, the bids went out, or the applications for the bids. They got-
It was in the newspaper, I believe, yesterday.
So I've been in contact with Ed, been in contact with Jeff, so we're just waiting for the bids to come in, and I'm assuming that we're all gonna get together, Lanny and I and Ed, and I don't know if Jeff's not involved, and then come back and make our decision. So, sounds like we're on the track to be.
Both beaches are open for contractors, like John, for the concession stand, and the ad was put in the paper. Where else did they advertise?
I don't, anywhere else, Jeff, with the ad that's been advertised?
On the web page. It's on the web
Ed
page.
Bradford's running that program. I'm staying away from it, but I know that he put it on the webpage. I know he put it in the newspaper. There were 4 businesses that were already interested, including the 2 that were obviously currently under, or previously under contract. So I know they got the information sent directly to them. I'm not aware if there were others that have expressed interest, though.
So there are 6 total?
There are 4.
Or
Oh, I think you said
That we know of
4
right
plus
now.
the 2.
4 that expressed interest prior to the advertisement.
Oh.
And then I'm not sure if there were others after that.
Okay, and I think they're due March 1st, so we'll wait till the,
And so then we'll reconvene, and Lanny and I will get involved with Ed.
So, and Ed did give an update at our staff meeting Tuesday morning and said that once those submittals are received, he's going to reach out to you guys, and there's going to be a small review committee that meets, reviews, discuss, and then makes a recommendation on each location.
Great.
each vendor will probably present food, Tim, so you, a selection.
I think I volunteered.
We'll have a little gourmet dinner for you guys, so I'm
It's
sure.
already given
It's a great committee.
where I'm going, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, moving on to Morton Park.
Go for it.
Tom Sinclair said he'll meet next week, Monday or Tuesday, right? And he's gonna come, and at that point, I would like to see him leave. You know, we've approved it, we've worked on this for how many years, and we've got the money allocated from the city, and now we've got the Minger grant.
Right
So
here.
I would like to see this happen and him leave with an order when he leaves that day, because it takes 12 to 16 weeks to get this playground equipment. So now we're looking at, we're lucky if we get it installed by July 1st.
That's a bummer.
And that's, yeah, I thought you hate to miss another summer.
So just as a quick refresher for the commission, and then also for Dr. Veach as the newest member, what's on the screen is the overall budget that we put together for the Minger grant. It includes several improvements at First Street Beach. It includes improvements at Duffy Park. It includes just a simple electric outlet at Sands Park so that the MRA can use a pitching machine there for the younger kids. And then quite a bit of work at Morton Park. And basically what we did was took money that council had approved for Morton Park improvements, and then money that council had approved for purchasing new refuse receptacles in the parks. And we used that as match money with the assumption that we would have some volunteer efforts and DPW efforts to do in-kind work for a lot of the installation and stuff. And so we were able to turn essentially I think it was $55,000 to $60,000 budgeted expense and turn that into a $175,000 value for the improvement in the parks. So what Liz is referring to is St. Clair Recreation has worked with the city for a number of years and has done a fantastic job. They are also have the state of Michigan contract for playgrounds. So that's what's called a My Deal. So the state of Michigan bids out a lot of their reoccurring expenses and purchases, such as vehicles, equipment, supplies. But playgrounds, Sinclair is the My Deal. So we get the prices that they low bid to the state on, and it makes it easier for us to purchase. So I had conversations with their representative, and after I met with Liz and Kelly, and what we asked for is give us 3 options for the playground structure at Morton, 3 options for the playground structure at Duffy, make it all inclusive, don't want any surprises, add-ons, all inclusive, has to be under the $20,000 that we've got budgeted. They were rushing to try to get us stuff before today because he knew that we had a meeting tonight. We received the stuff yesterday. There's 2 options for each. One's below the 20 grand and one's above 20 grand. The stuff above 20 grand is really cool.
Yeah, like how much? Quite a bit, or?
I brought the stuff with me so I can show you.
Let's see.
So this was, I'm sorry. So this was a play structure proposed for Morton Park. I will also tell you that we took pictures of all the equipment that's there, and so we don't want to duplicate it, don't want to replace it, we want to complement it. Yeah. And when I say complement it, it doesn't mean you can't have 2 slides, one's existing, one's new, because they may be different age ranges, okay? So we may have something that's wonderful for 8 to 12-year-olds, but maybe this slide is better for the 5 to whatever that gap is. So this is seems like a pretty simple structure, but it's hard to read. 26 by 30 in its overall footprint.
Is this the more expensive one, Jeff, or the under 20?
We're gonna find out on the next slide. So this is right at $20,000. Okay, I'm glad I picked that one first. I didn't wanna underwhelm you.
One, Jeff, right? Oh, no.
This is the $20,000 one. You will see that there's a $7,400 discount that comes from whatever rebates, incentives that they can get from Game Time, plus what their breaks are through the My Deal contract. So it would have been a $26,000 structure. They're offering it at $19,000. It also includes the border around the play area, and it includes 12 inches of the engineered wood fiber that we've talked about many times. So that includes all of that, but it doesn't include the installation, okay? So, and Liz, is it okay if I go through these? Because I think it's helpful to get the full commission since there's only a couple options anyway. Here's the second at Morton Park. There's actually 2 pieces that could be purchased. That's kind of cool looking. That's kind of weird looking to me, but I'm sure if you're a child that would be fun. But those are 2 separate pieces that are complementary to the slide and the swings that we already have at Morton Park. but that price goes up to $24,000. So if you view this like I do, I like bigger, better. And for $4,000, it seems like you're getting a lot more, but we have a fixed budget, so we would need to then trim something else out somewhere. Maybe it's reducing a bench or something else.
Are both of these like ADA compliant? Is one more so than the other?
They are not specifically ADA compliant. In order to be truly ADA compliant, you can't have any of the wood fiber. You have to have that foam surface, and then you've got to have the pathways from parking to get there. So Rocket Park, the new Rocket Park, and only that section around that little rocket is the only true ADA compliant one that we've got in our park system.
So to apply that, the cost would
Triple.
obviously triple.
At least triple, yeah. Yeah, if you've followed in the newspaper, Orchard Beach State Park has raised a tremendous amount of money. They actually got awarded the same grant that we were trying to get for the North Riverwalk improvements, but that's gonna be a $500,000 playground. I mean, it's gonna be tremendous.
Yeah,
But it's full ADA compliant.
yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm not sure which one is which, but going to Duffy Park, this is a potential play structure that they recommended for that park and what's existing. It actually has quite a large footprint. If I zoom in, that's the more expensive one, so that's just below $24,000. And then the other one that they recommended was a bit smaller. Almost the same size footprint, but I think this was, oops, wrong direction. This was just below the $20,000 that we have budgeted for it.
And how, again, was Duffy Park in on this grant?
Yeah,
We can talk about Duffy at
yeah,
all.
right. exactly.
So what happened is, and I think I've explained this
But they haven't. heard.
before. So
Please.
when we knew that we had money for Morton Park and the Parks Commission created that list of priorities, if you remember, I went back and tried to price all those out, and we kind of pared it down to what we thought we could afford in our first phase, and then we were going to defer a bunch of items to a future phase. When I started pricing that stuff out and working with Sinclair Recreation, the MRA actually contacted the city manager and wanted to introduce, and then had some requests. The Community Foundation reached out to the city manager and said, you know, we have some other, well, let me back that up. The senior softball group approached both myself, Mickey McCann, our parks lead man, and then Bill in addition, and they had some requests to do improvements down at the softball fields. So we did a bunch of stuff in-house that we could afford to do and had resources to do this last summer. And then we actually did a walk around with them and got a full appreciation of some of the improvements that they requested. So then Mr. Gamble set up a meeting, and he and I met with the foundation and said, we got basketball courts that we really need to fix the rims and the backboards, and we've talked about that. We've got the senior softball that wants to do some improvements for the use of the north softball field. We've got this Morton Park money set aside, and we got more things that we want to do than what we can fund. And the MRA asked for electrical outlets at Duffy Park and at Sands Park. And we basically asked them, if we do a grant application, does it have to be for one specific location, or can we bundle up multiple locations into one project? And they came back and said, absolutely, you can do a bundle. So when we bundled it, we had 2 weeks to do the application for the Minger and get it in, okay? So Laney and I busted out that application. When I was working on the budget numbers, which is that spreadsheet I had put up, the cap on the Minger grant was 100 grand, okay? So we added stuff to it to try to bring it up to as close to that 100 grand without going over. And then we added in all the other budgeted things that we had, some of the volunteer things that we had talked about, and we were able to leverage that into a 70, whatever it was, a $97,500 grant. So that's how that play structure at Duffy got incorporated into that, is getting it boosted up to that, to just under 100,000.
So Laney was a part of choosing Duffy then, for that?
She helped write a bunch of the stuff. I did a lot of the technical stuff, and then I actually gave her the last successful Minger grant we put together, and then she basically modified our previous submission to make it fit this application. So her and I wrote the grant. Bill and I worked on the elements to get it in there.
Yeah, we were just saying that we had talked about so many other parks that needed things more so than Duffy did, and.
I mean, that's our nicest park, Duffy is. It's beautiful.
What's that?
Duffy's probably right now our best park. It's got bathrooms, it's got soccer, it's got the best sports in town is what came out at the Morton meeting. They're playing at Duffy, and it's got a decent playground. I mean, it's our best park right now.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of feedback that, when that park gets used, it's either used really heavily or it's lightly used. So when you've got baseball games going on there, it's younger kids. Younger kids draw lots of their family and friends, grandparents, and so there's a lot of families that are on the site, and there's kids out beyond the outfield that are always playing, and so I've noticed it for many years and have thought we need to add some play element out there. Same thing when we have soccer. It's youth soccer that's playing, and there's more spectators than there are soccer players, but it's used and used and used. And so really that was, I guess in our minds, a good addition for the other kids that are not playing soccer or baseball to have something to do, as well as being able to use it at all times. So
It just would have been nice to have been involved with the process, because like I said, we have our lists and we weren't included in that, and we were all surprised by Duffy Park being in on that, so that's all.
I mean, they'll like the equipment, but it is a good park now. And it's used because it is our best park, I feel. I think it's used, if we get every park up to that point,
Yeah,
they'd
there
all
were
be
other
used.
parks that
Yeah.
it would have been
They've
nice.
got the only bathrooms that are in a park that are real bathrooms, not porta johns. So, but
It is what it
it
is.
is what it is.
Yeah.
And we'll follow the rules of the grant and continue on. There is a little more money though, because I see in their bid, they're using the engineered wood, and we had, whatever, 11,000, and that was at, what do you call it, EWF or whatever?
right.
And we had a lot more space. I mean, I think they had, the number was at 650 around theirs, and ours is a smaller spot around the existing, and we've got 1,200, and let's keep it consistent. If they're using engineered wood, let's not pay the 3 times as much to use the EWF around our existing equipment. Would you not agree on that? Why would we have 2 different composites around the play equipment?
So I did have money, so we had rehab of the existing play structures, and the Parks Commission had pledged to use volunteer effort, city to supply the materials, repaint, refurbish, replace the swings, and then do the same thing to that slide structure. But in that line item, I had anticipated putting the border and the engineered wood fiber around that, or within that.
No, I thought on our original thing, it said, we had asked that, it had that EWF on that upgrade that, I don't know the date on that. When we talked about the Morton, it said EWF, Sinclair, $3,924,
And it was $6,000, right? That one?
right? 3,924, is that right?
So we really have,
Because it shouldn't take 11,400 to rehab those two pieces.
so we have a unique opportunity in Manistee that a lot of places don't. And that's, we've got PCA has wood chips. The wood chips are not the same as the engineered wood fiber. The engineered wood fiber is really shredded wood so that when you've got a 12-inch layer and somebody falls, a child falls off a piece of playground equipment, it gives that cushion. The wood chips provide fall protection, it's just not as great. And so depending on the type of equipment, the distance from a potential fall to, top of a piece of equipment to the ground, I think impacts that. Swings, obviously, I mean, when I was at Jefferson School, I could swing till the 10 feet in the air and then jump off of it. So it becomes a safety consideration. We could reach out to PCA to see if they would be willing to supply the wood chips. But as a commission, you should know that it doesn't provide the same, it's a heck of a lot cheaper, but it doesn't provide the same fall protection.
But their bid on one of these options was 2,600, and we've got actually on the grant thing, I mean, did that include all of them? I guess we'll have to look at it, because the play structure here was, Morton Park.
So when I asked Thomas when he could meet with us, the intent is to go over these type of details and do exactly what you said. I want him to walk out the door and say, when I get back to the office, I'm sending you the final quote. I'll put it on a council agenda item and we'll get it ordered. But I don't know if you want input from the full commission, but we're gonna need to select 2 of those 4 pieces of equipment or have them start over with it.
Now, does council have to, are they approving what? Because they approved the 35,000.
They're
and they
approving the
approved
purchase. They're gonna approve the purchase.
Okay.
So I can't spend
Right.
that money without them approving it
Perfect.
if it's over $25,000.
Does everybody want to decide on the play equipment, or can we just do it as a committee and?
I have a question on placement. Placement in these areas. I'd like to see where it's placed and how that was decided on. And if has Duffy been scheduled for a piece of play equipment from years past? That may be something I'm not familiar with.
I don't think it was scheduled.
And the only reason why I ask that is, I guess I'm big on visuals, and I'd like to see, okay, here we go. This is what's gonna help me out tremendously, thank you.
Well, if I can get there, but I'm working on it. So here's an example. I call them items. So when we put together the grant application,
Yes.
this is not set in stone. This is just to graphically represent what we were thinking. So at Duffy Park, we're trying to solve the weed problem that's there. The weeds in the infield drive me nuts. We've been working on it for years. I've tried 6 different methods, but we're gonna come up with a way of trying to get the weeds gone there. We would put an electrical service out to the pitcher's mound for that machine pitch that the MRA would do. And then if you look at the area and where our equipment is, most of it is in this area, if you can see my mouse. And then we discussed putting a new piece of equipment in this location. And then it also, I think that also included some benches. And I think there were benches there so that if adults were watching the kids play, there was a place for them to sit. On the,
Morton Park.
if anybody sees Morton items, okay, here it is. So Morton, the stuff that's in the red is existing. So we've got that existing swing set that we want to rehab. We have the existing slide that we wanted to rehab. And then over to the west or the left side, we were simply going to stripe some white stripes in the grass so the kids could kind of play soccer, football, whatever they wanted to do. The green were trees that we were going to plant, which we've planted 2 of those so far. The yellow would be a piece of playground equipment. And then this purple was going to be a shade structure that we would place picnic tables underneath. And then the existing basketball court that is here is almost exactly half the size of a full basketball court. So what we had talked about was doubling the size, pouring a new pad to the north, and then installing new urban certified, if you will, basketball hoops on both the north and south end, and then leaving the older ones there, but at least having 2 new ones that would be on the full court.
Okay. So do we have, now I would consider this somewhat of a master plan. Do we have these types of aerial views of each one of our parks? And the only reason why I ask that is so that we're not piecemealing a park together through 10 years of this. If there was some kind of thought prior to where we'd like to see certain benches, structures, things of that sort.
Right, so we have master plans, but they're old. They're probably 12, 14 years old for First Street Beach, for Fifth Avenue Beach, and for Man-Made Lake. And that was done through a consultant and through a grant. We've been looking for a grant to refresh those, and we want the Parks Commission to be a part of that. But specifically for those 3, because we've implemented a lot of those master plan elements that the community wanted. We think we found a funding source because Manistee is a redevelopment-ready community. We're eligible for a grant through that program for technical assistance. So Mr. Gamble's checking to see if we could do the park, the beach master plans under that program. But we don't have anything like that for the balance of the parks.
Do you have something, an aerial view, or does the city have an aerial view, something that we can work with so that we can see the park and the existing structures in it? And the only reason why I say this is because I've seen a park ruined by piecemealing it.
So we have the raw material.
Yes.
You know, we've got aerials.
Okay.
We have a GIS system that we are using heavily for utilities, asset management, and now it's expanding into other city departments. But I think that's a wonderful idea because we've got that raw information. We simply need to identify the existing elements that are there.
Exactly.
And then, so I can make that, when we take extra notes on that. So I can start that process in-house, and then we can bring it back with the Parks Commission and start working on individual parks and recommendations on future items, if you want.
It would be good for the whole city. That way we can identify areas that we want to specifically work in, and at least there's a plan going forward of the types of equipment we might want to see in that park, and we can ask for specific grants, something along that lines.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know if the whole commission got that information, but I think when Mr. Gamble was talking about the tennis courts, I know I saw some email exchanges, but one of the things that the granting agencies, including the Community Foundation, really look for is if it's in your master plan. Is that improvement in your master plan? And if it is, then it's something that we're helping you fulfill.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I support that.
I do too. I just think it would be in our best interest moving forward to have something on file. That, I mean, it could be as little as 5 years. Every 5 years we look at it. It's flexible. It can be changed considering trends in recreation,
Well, we do have a 5-year recreational plan, and I think the commission approved that 2 years ago, right? Remember, I think we were at Fifth Avenue Pavilion for that.
It was a little different than what Karen's saying.
I'm
Well,
speaking on
I
a
think,
visual.
yeah, I think what,
That was more to apply for grants. It didn't give any visualization or goals of here's what, it was kind of an inventory of what we had. But when we visited Glen Arbor, we saw the parks that actually used a park designer, and it was so intentional. Like they had walls that you sat on, not just benches, but they knew what they were doing and they know what they wanted to do down the road. It was so intentional.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't just, we'll plop something there. And I think we might have, Karen's 100% right, that we should know what we want. And then also, if it was something in a certain park and someone wanted to give a memorial, we'd say, here's our list. I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking about that.
Yeah.
We need 2 benches, we need a picnic table.
Exactly.
We'd be interested in donating that. We know right where it's gonna be placed.
Exactly.
yeah, I agree with you, and what I was gonna say is, if we start working on that now, when we get to that 5-year to renew it, then we've got kind of those plans, and we've got a visual, and I think you'll have a good handle on how to update that next 5-year master plan.
I agree with you 100% on that, and I think that would be beneficial to us.
We didn't have a lot of community input on our master plan. They had meetings, but nobody came. And I followed Elk Rapids, and they've had these meetings, and the community has really come forward on what they wanted. And I think that we need to work on more in community input.
I agree. Can I suggest something? If we're gonna look at individual parks, can we have a meeting prior to, and discuss like master planning with them, with the community members in the area? A lot of times, your citizens have good ideas on what they'd like to see, as far as recreational opportunities in their neighborhoods. And that's always a positive, for everybody.
Well, I think you did that for Morton Park, and I thought that was a great experience.
Too, and I'd like to do that for each park.
Yeah. And I was on the consultant side when the beach master plans were done.
Yes.
And we included people from every commission. We included people from council. We included kids from the schools. We included representatives from the service groups, the Kiwanis, the Elks, because they were doing a lot of volunteering back then. And it was tremendously eye-opening how the kids have a different perspective than
We do.
an older guy like me.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, we're planning stuff for them, but they have a voice too. And so that's why I want to have a consultant do the beach master plans, because I think they can help extract that information from the community. And it's a pretty neat process.
Karen, I think,
Yes.
otherwise if we don't, we sometimes get it lost. I think we should form a little committee, and right now, would you want that? And Jeff, could you get the 3 you said we have 3 current ones for man-made and 2 others, and start by just giving you that, let you look at those.
Yeah.
Look at those 3, and if you would want to do that, Karen.
Because I believe, some of the things that I've learned through the years is, with a park, you should have passive and active recreation. I agree with that 100%. It doesn't have to be all active, so you have certain parts of the park, and that's all I'm trying to do is try to visualize what the space looks like, how we could move forward, with maybe some greenery, landscaping, things of that sort. And it's easier to see visually than it is to try to, make an inventory list and figure you want 3 benches here at Duffy, but we don't know exactly where we want to put them, we just know we want 3. So I'd like to see where those 3 benches go, and,
Yeah, so I can send you those 3 master plans. And if you keep in mind the time frame when those were completed versus, especially First Street Beach, and then all the elements that have been added, it's pretty neat to see not just a plan go up on a shelf, but it actually has been slowly implemented over the years. And then I'll start working on getting some visual existing conditions on the other parks.
Awesome.
That'll take a little bit of time, but we'll start on that.
And even if we can't afford getting a master planner to do the parks, we can look at them ourselves and
Sure.
kind of, don't just plop it right here. Maybe we want to put it over here away from the residents, things of that sort, so.
Sure.
Thank you.
anything else? Now, Morton Park, did we decide we're going to meet with Tom Sinclair next week, Monday and Tuesday? At that point, do we want to get back together to pick out the piece of equipment, or do you want us to just,
Have him walk away with knowing what it is that we need.
we'll get it done
Don't you
Tuesday, and then
think?
I think the following week is council, so you'd present it the following week, and,
It would be the first Tuesday in March.
right.
Would be the
So,
first,
within 2 weeks, we could possibly.
possibly. Yeah, as long as I get all the numbers from him and we got it all totaled up and we're under the budget.
Do you know, Jeff, if you end up going with the higher priced items, do you know what's going to be cut to be able to afford those?
Oh, that's a good question.
Now, did we not talk about cutting the benches, refurbishing what we have, as well as the picnic table?
There was some conversations about, well, I hate to go out of order, but I think this is pertinent. So one thing that I've got a couple guys working on right now is like we did with the benches last year, we're rotating picnic tables in. So my idea is to take all the picnic tables from a park, pull them, when they come back, they're gonna be refreshed. You can see that they're different ages, they're different colors, there's quite a hodgepodge out there.
So again, though, we were gonna pick colors for each park. Are we taking that into consideration?
All of these are being stained the same color because they move from park to park. If we were purchasing the powder coated metal ones, then I think those would be dedicated to a park. But these actually get moved all the time, season to season, activity to activity, Forest Festival, depends on what's going on, but they do get moved
Is that the
quite a
same
bit.
color as the one that we finished last summer? Different color?
This is the color that, I don't know how well it shows up for you, but this is the color that,
Like a redwood or a dark brown?
it's a dark brown.
Okay.
This is the color that we had asked those to be restained with. Excuse me.
So do we know what color this is? Is that like
It doesn't show up real well here, but it's brown.
written down somewhere? If we were to like mash it at the beach, would we have access to this?
We can certainly provide that now. We have that.
Well, that's what we should
That
have, is
code,
an
yeah.
inventory of our paint colors on everything
Yeah.
that we use everywhere.
So like Kelly was saying, we had talked about, well, if we've got some decent, good picnic tables in good condition, maybe we don't have to spend $2,000 on a powder coated one. Maybe we just put a good picnic table instead. Sorry, I got a tickle. But there could be some items like that we eliminate or replace, and if we wanted to get the better playground equipment, but we're gonna have to roll up our sleeves and sort through all that next week.
A new picnic table and bench could be our goal for the next phase.
Sure,
If it's-
sure.
Could be a memorial also. Could be part of our memorial program.
Okay, we'll keep you informed. We'll send out what the cost and what the selection is. If you got comments, immediately
Got
fire
another
it back.
question.
It's just nice to show us what you
Yes, I agree.
Yes,
They
thank
should all
you.
be aware of it, and if you got a comment, don't hesitate to.
I've got a question. Are the play structures, are they, can you build on them? Are they, what's the word I'm looking for?
Expandable?
Expandable, there.
I don't think so. They're pretty customizable, but I think once that comes, that's gonna be the unit.
So if we wanted something bigger, we'd have to have that removed and a larger one put in? Is that how I would understand it?
Or another piece that's
Or another-
complementary.
That's complementary, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't be added on to the piece itself.
Yeah.
Thank you, that's what I.
Yeah, if you go down to go down to the new Rocket Park, there's like 5 different elements in there. And so you can add kind of components and,
And there is an allocated amount for each park for the Minger grant. I mean, we can't like take 5,000 from Duffy and put it's all allocated.
I
Dedicated allocation.
I don't think they're gonna check penny to penny
5,000?
that way. Yeah, as long as, I mean, we made an application, presented it, they've approved it and awarded us money. So we need to keep the elements in there. I don't think if we had to shift a couple $1,000s one way or the other, that would matter. But I don't think we could eliminate a play structure at Morton Park and put it somewhere else.
Oh, no.
We don't want to.
No. And
Okay, I think we're good on Morton Park and speed, I think it's gonna be a plus to the park system. Okay, moving on to the bylaws. Karen
Yay.
Tim got this rolling. Karen worked very, very hard on this. And the
Okay.
bylaws, and then Jermaine said, yes, bring it up again. That we're interested in bringing it up in front of, she said you bring up city council. Karen will give us the background, but I believe it was 2003 that these ours are from,
2009.
2009.
oh, yes.
So it's
Thank-
time. So Karen,
So-
thank you. And Tim's got this rolling back today. Tim was the one that brought it to light, and then Karen has really, really worked.
My name, and I don't know now it's Liz.
No, it's not Liz.
So,
That page. No, because you're chair.
Oh, okay. No, but those two get the credit.
when Tim was the chair, he went through an extensive review.
He did.
Yes.
And when it was submitted to the city attorney for review prior to going to council, the city attorney didn't like the format changes because the city wants to keep them consistent with all the commissions. So I think at some point I don't know if that was COVID or what happened, but
Dropped it.
it just never got finished.
But it is now. Karen,
Which honestly never made sense to me. I like our format. I don't think it has to follow every single format of, I think it makes it easier, but this is a lot cleaner, than some of the other formats that we've had. So did you modify anything on this, Karen, or
A
is this?
ton.
Did you?
The organization, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's so much better.
a few things.
But it's, the bones are yours. Yeah, but the one that's approved by city council and posted is from 2009.
Yep.
And I noticed, and the reason we're voting on it again, because we voted on this last May, and then it didn't progress because of a discouraging conversation I had with one city council member, but then a new mayor was very encouraging, so it took a long time to get it on their schedule, to get it in front of city council, to go and, we talked about explaining it in person to try
If
to
you
help
need
move it
to.
along. You can come.
I'll be there.
And anyway, that gave me a lot of time to deep dive into it and really discover, because if I have to present this, I want to understand it, and discovered a lot of things that we might be more comfortable adjusting. So, and to make it easier for council to understand, but do we want to go through it all, or do you just want to go through the few?
Did you read it? It was pretty much emailed.
Did anybody read it?
I read
'Cause
it.
sent it.
I mean, I liked it.
I did.
It cleaned it up.
Karen, do you have a copy I could see?
Yes.
Yeah, you can take mine, because I have a backup. Do you have one?
Or you can
Katie, do
email
you
it.
need one? I have one.
Or you could email it to me later.
Yeah, I can.
Katie one too.
Sorry, I should have printed more.
Would you give that to Katie?
Do we want to, or do you just want me to highlight what changed since the
Well,
last time we voted on it?
So when we go before the city council, they're
Yes.
gonna wanna know the old and the new and how it all relates. So are you prepared for that?
It's a mess.
It
To go
is.
from 2009 to, and even skipping over what you did, because I don't think they're going to care. I think they're just going to see what was there, what's approved, and what we're suggesting. It's a mess if you try to go from one to the other, and the reason is that a lot of that is obsolete now, because in 2015, 2017, 2014, you did it in 2013, there were changes to the ordinance, and the old one doesn't make any sense anymore because things are totally different. The qualifications to be on the commission, for instance, I mean, it's just, there's so much different to the ordinance that it doesn't,
Yeah.
you just gotta cut it out and start fresh.
So we need to make an appointment to go before the city council and present
They're
this?
gonna put it on their docket on March something, we don't know which March.
First March.
So we wanted
Tuesday?
to.
Tuesday?
But let me just be clear that the city manager will require the city attorney to do a review and
Prior,
approve it prior to it getting on an agenda. So once you guys vote on any recommended changes, then it will go to the city attorney.
okay,
And when the city attorney approves it, then the city manager will put it on the agenda.
So we approve it today, goes to the city attorney, he goes through it.
If he says, looks great, no changes, then it can be put on the agenda. If he requests changes, it may need to come back before the parks.
I know. But
Um,
she wasn't sure.
Okay.
So we just need to approve it?
We need to
Send it.
vote to approve this
Yep.
version that we can move up the process to hopefully get it.
And then keep on it.
Kelly's got
Yes.
some questions.
Yeah.
Well, I think, the format is great, but
Yes.
I have specific questions, like the quote. To me, the quote is negative under the Manistee Parks vision statement. I feel there should be a more positive quote than what's on there. So
You mean the vision or the mission?
The vision.
See, I thought the mission statement needed adjusting too.
I did too, a little bit. I have a problem
I
with
gave
we.
up on that, and I was hoping you guys would work on it and throw out ideas.
I'd like a little more time if I could.
So my question was, I think the format's great, but some of the content is what I'm questioning. And so do we kind of have to
So we need to adjust it so we can
get it
vote
approved?
on it and get it out in front of city council. But we do have to vote on it and approve it to move it forward.
Yeah.
So what are you saying you'd like to see changed, Kelly?
Changes and make the changes right now.
Well, the quote was one of them.
Well, that's what,
Okay.
what do you suggest?
But if we, okay, so I put a sample out there by Marty Rubin that said, "Parks and playgrounds are the soul of the city." I felt that the quote beforehand was negative. Just my
Yep,
thought.
that's why you're here, Kelly.
So, that was just an example, but we would have to then go look for a different quote if we all feel that this was a negative
I
quote.
think the one you found was great.
Yeah.
Simple, straightforward.
Well, were you gonna put something else in, delete anything else or nothing?
What do you mean?
Did you want to rewrite the whole vision statement or just?
No,
swap
just
out
the
a
quote, just swapping out the quote.
So just end it.
But how does everybody feel about that? I mean, I was just putting that out there as an example.
That quote came from the National Park and Recreation Association. Yours is, let's go with that.
Put that Linda Johnson quote in there.
That was Liz.
It came from the National Parks and Recreation
She did say
Association, which is a wonderful organization.
I just wanted to quote it. So it came from
Excuse me,
Liz.
excuse me.
What quote did you have? Was that yours?
That end one, but it's
Oh,
fine.
that was yours?
That's fine. No, Kelly,
I
go
thought
with
that was
it.
like 10 years old, okay.
No.
No. I thought you thought it was mine. I'm okay with
Go ahead. So what did you say? That's,
Parks and playgrounds are the soul of a city.
Where would you put that?
Instead of, we must leave them a glimpse of the world, as it was in the beginning, not just after we got through
So
it.
you leave the miracles of technology and add.
I didn't care for
get rid
that.
of
You
that.
didn't like that?
Yeah, I didn't care for
Okay.
that.
You just want to erase that whole sentence?
Both sentences.
We want to look down the road.
I also don't care for we. And I'm sorry, I don't know why.
Don't be sorry.
But I'm just as we. It sounds like somebody else is doing it for somebody else. That's what I don't care for.
Instead of it being us.
Us as a community doing it. That's my only, it sounds like we is somebody other than us. And I don't know.
Say it.
The commission or,
Ask community, we,
as a community commission or, we are.
As a
We
commission?
strive, as a commission, I think it would be fine, because that's gonna be whoever's on the commission at the time, right?
As a commission, you still have we.
Well, true, as a,
our goal is to build.
the commission's goal is to build,
Our goal is to build.
Our.
As a commission, our goal is to build community bonds.
I like that better.
So just get rid of the last two sentences and add Kelly's. Where does that come from, Kelly?
My phone. Artie Rubin is the,
Who is he?
I don't know. I was putting it down as a sample because I thought that.
Want to say heart and soul or just soul? And then if we change it a little bit, we don't have to quote it, or do you want to put it in quote, who said it?
Whatever you want.
I don't think we have to quote who said it.
Okay,
Nobody's going to care. It's a good quote.
okay.
But what is it?
Not perjury.
Parks of the.
Parks and
Parks
playground.
and playgrounds are the soul of a city.
Perfect. I like that better.
Do we have to decide on everything today?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Because I'd really like to,
Plan.
I think kind of, when else should we do this?
Well, here's what I didn't understand. I didn't know that we had, what year is the original one from?
2009.
So that was taken from this one here, and that's why I got these things marked, because I didn't know what. But this one doesn't have a mission statement. Now, is
Exactly.
the mission statement added on
Do you
this?
want me to go through and explain what was added or
Just tell
changed?
the mission why you have both.
Yeah, please.
Okay, well, that was Tim. Tim added the mission and vision.
And I think that's very good. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
You have to have a mission statement.
I agree.
I think it's
agree.
good.
Well, the mission is, Karen explained it well to me. The mission statement is for today,
Right, and the vision.
what's occurring today, and the vision
Vision
is what
is
you'd like to see down
In the
road.
future, yes, exactly.
Your goals.
And everything is in line or aligned with our mission statement. Every decision we make is, yes.
Right. Are you guys happy with the vision statement? The way Kelly sees it, just take out the last two sentences, add the quote. As a commission, our goal is to
I'm
do.
sorry, I'm not ready for this. Yes.
Don, any idea? That's one thing do want, a city is judged by its parks. You know, I think as a commission, we should be very aware of that, I mean, I go to cities and I think, oh,
I do too.
a city is judged by its parks, and I think that's.
You want that as part of the mission statement?
I don't think that would be bad in there.
It's not futuristic, I mean, it's a day-to-day thing, you drive by the parks and this gal was judging the trash on the beach, and not negatively, she brought it to our attention.
Well, maybe that would be
Well,
like,
she's judging just simple things, that trash is coming from the wherever.
maybe that could be included in the mission statement.
Do we have to have this approved and submitted today?
That's what my question is.
Yes or no?
Well, I believe,
If we
And
wanted
if we do, then why?
for the March,
we
that,
want to get it, we've been working on it for a few years, and
But
it,
if we have a lot of revisions that people are interested in reviewing, it's gonna take a lot of
A
time.
lot of time here tonight.
little work session just on this.
Well, I would recommend just
Can we do
presenting the revisions that you have now.
okay,
We all take them back and then maybe at another meeting, then, vote on it.
right.
Okay, then I'll tell Jermaine, we'll just postpone it a month,
Okay.
no problem.
Do you want me to walk you through what's different?
Yes.
Yes, I would, because I have
If
both.
you've already made revisions, don't be afraid to say them right now, though.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So walk them through.
Revisions, okay.
Karen, walk through.
So, if you ignore the structure of the last one and the content of the last one, and simply go from the ordinance, which is what I did and which helped a lot. This is, if anybody wants to see the ordinance.
The city ordinances.
Right, the
Okay,
first
I got that.
Chapter 289 of the ordinance.
I think.
With the exception of adding the mission and vision statement starting out. The name since 2009 has changed. They took out beautification, so that's been taken out of the name throughout.
Okay.
And then the objectives that you see Article 2, if you read sections 1 through 7, they are virtually verbatim from the ordinance, how the ordinance reads.
Excellent.
Section 8, 9, and 10 are new additions.
Okay, so these are,
And those were added through Tim in 2013. And Liz and I just kind of adjusted a couple of words from what he had, but it's in essence the same.
And those are added from input. That's from our commission back then, so.
And if the master plan is updated every 5 years, our thought was if we review it every 4 years, and it's like John said, then you have a year to improve the master plan.
exactly, make revisions.
Got to get it done, because the planner's coming next. We'd like to improve, so that's how it got to be 4 years rather than 5.
Any questions about that part, or should I go on?
No, keep going.
Membership, section 1 and 2 are virtually verbatim from the ordinance again. So there's nothing really there's not really an option to change it unless you want them to change the ordinance, but it just reads verbatim what the ordinance reads. And that did change from 2013, so I just updated it to reflect the current ordinance that was changed in 2017. Vacancies was absent in your version, but I added it back in. So likewise, section 4 is from the old bylaws, just in a different location.
Okay.
Resignations, I believe that was something you added that wasn't in the the original 2009 version, but
Okay, add it.
it's pretty straightforward. If you
Yeah.
want to resign, you can.
Yeah.
Notify the, right?
So life's
Toodaloo. Yeah,
You don't want us,
Everybody in jail.
you don't want
you're
us
on for life, baby.
You're trying to get out of this, we go after you.
That's
Know
right.
where you live.
That's right. We'll find you.
Removal from office is from the 2009 version, so
Okay,
it's
so
just
that's the
reiterated,
same.
not changed. I added all the little subheadings in bold, so it's easier to find things, because it's just
It's
kind
nice,
of
yeah. Easier for me to read.
read it pretty long the other way. Officers and their duties is pretty straightforward. What is the chairperson, vice chairperson, recording secretary, optional? It's all, nothing's changed from the
Okay.
older version.
I think when you explain it to city council, that's a good explanation. Nothing
Right.
changed, same verbiage.
And which ones are new, or which ones we.
Yeah, I like this, yeah, so we know, because it's same presentation. Thank you, Karen.
I worked very hard on this.
Still working on the presentation, but the meetings, the section 1 is from the ordinance. So
Same.
Open
Okay.
Meetings Act, notice of meetings posted, blah, blah. The minutes also from the ordinance, so Michigan Freedom of Information Act, frequency from the ordinance. So it's going directly from Chapter 289, Parks Commission. Special meetings, that is new, or was that in the 2009? I'm having a memory lapse there. I think that's new, the special meetings that you added.
Yep.
So that was someone I wasn't here yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but just that a special meeting can be called with a couple of days' notice.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
only official correspondence, I believe that was new as well, from you and your, I don't know who you worked with, I don't know. It's not just you.
Yeah, Lanny, Bob, Tom, some other.
Read it, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the
Correspond with
reasons,
us
I
and-
think I think it's one of the reasons we developed this format, because it is easy to read, very easy to follow.
yes,
You
I
know,
like
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Quorum is directly again from the ordinance, and then the second sentence, however, is not, but it makes sense that if you don't have a quorum, you can still discuss, but it's not official and just bring it back
Okay,
Which is good.
next time. The Roberts rules that, the first sentence is a part of yours. Tim added in that we were gonna be governed by Roberts rules, and I added the second little couple sentences in italics because I thought it was smart. Robertsrules.org. That it's not meant to stifle conversation or progress or intimidate,
exactly.
so.
I like-
Anyway,
I like the, under no circumstances should undue strictness be allowed to intimidate members.
I don't think that's a risk here.
I like this, because I think sometimes you can get out of control.
That's
The
right.
Parks Commission.
I'm trying to make it stricter. I'm trying to
That's why
keep
we
ripped
put it
into
in there.
shape.
Which is why we have section 8, that our parliamentarian is the chairperson. I think yours might have switched it to the recording secretary, and Liz wanted to, no, I'm kidding. Liz wants to maintain control. so
Oh, yeah,
Trying.
Got that issue.
keep that in there.
we like Liz. And the order of business did change. And I can tell you what changed, because there was both correspondence and communication, which seemed redundant, so one of them we took out.
Okay.
And we added approval of agenda and roundtable discussion. Laney asked for that one. And is that it? That might have been it on that one. Oh, and citizen public comments used to be called special hearing, so that the title just changed. Ignore the spacing, I already fixed that. But the next is just kind of from Robert's rules. It's how you make a motion, how you vote. It's kind of
Okay.
standard, but I think it's elaborated a little from the other version. I don't think that was in there. So. The only section without headings, sorry. The next one, however, committees, that is completely new. There was nothing even regarding committees in the old version. That was Tim's version, added that in. There was one section, a section 4, that Tim had added in that was something about making committees subject to public presence and recording the whole Michigan Open Meetings Act, which didn't seem relevant to you guys going out and checking out a kayak center or having a, meeting with someone. It didn't
Yeah.
seem like it should be
Okay,
in there,
good.
so we just took that out. So
Yeah, I don't think that's required.
Too cumbersome.
I think that's the idea behind a committee, is that they can work nimbly and,
Yeah,
we just-
yeah.
we just nixed that. Citizen committees, that's something I've never heard of before, but we can apparently have citizens on a committee as a specialty group that has special knowledge, but it also says line of authority that all committees are subservient to the commission, and that we can cancel, adjust, whatever.
Awesome.
Which is what we did with Tom Mole on the disc golf, right?
Here, it's in writing now.
Yeah.
But that's completely new. It wasn't addressed either in the ordinance or in the prior version of.
Okay.
So, good job, Tim. And then commissioner absences actually is a little bit different. Commitment is the same, notification is virtually verbatim from the 2009 version. But the absences, I don't know why they changed in your version, Tim, but they are just slightly different, and that's okay, I think. If there are 3 consecutive excused absences or more than that, that's supposedly unacceptable in the old version, and 50% or 6 a year would be unacceptable.
Yeah.
But in this one, there's actually added 2 consecutive unexcused absences as well as the 3 excused consecutive
okay.
absences is excessive.
I thought it was abscesses.
It was. I don't know why.
Abscesses.
I changed that. Yes. Anyway, yes, but the result is dismissal. The other one was a little more airy-fairy. Well, we'll talk to
Yeah,
you
right, no.
about your priorities and what do you think? But this one just says, no, that's your recommended.
Straight to the point.
I can think we've only need to do that twice since I've been on the commission.
really?
Yeah, we actually made recommendations.
So you tightened them up. They used to be a little looser.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, just people just weren't showing up or weren't participating, so it's a hard decision though.
Very hard.
yeah.
It really is.
So it's tougher, just
Yeah.
slightly. But tougher. And it's 5 per year instead of 6 in this version. And then the final part is basically verbatim from the old 2009 version, amendments to the bylaws, notification of those amendments, like we did, we mailed this out 3, 4 plus the weekend. And we're supposed to annually review them in July. And otherwise,
Nice job.
that's it.
Yeah, nice job.
So
Yes.
It just needs to go
No.
forward.
now y'all know if you haven't want to change anything or
I think the old one in there right now is really old on the website. Way old. It's embarrassing.
it's really outdated.
The 2009? Yeah.
The substance of it is outdated. And
Yeah. Well, it's- yeah.
I have a question under the objectives. Section 9, it says, "We participate in the review and approval of adopted park applications."
I think that's aspirational, but it was not in our original 2009 bylaws. So this is something added in by Tim
Okay,
that, of course, that never went up to city council. So it's not officially a part
okay.
of it. But do we want it to be? Is-
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it wouldn't have been up until this point, to be honest with you, as long as the commission's been here.
Kelly, what else?
Yeah, so those 3 are new, 8, 9, and 10.
Okay.
Most of it is just kind of like logistics, like, you know, for instance, in the mission statement, we need to make sure that these things are happening.
They're not, right? Like,
Yeah,
what do you-
exactly.
I know.
There's some kind of
So it's not-
accountability.
not that it's-
We can remove it because we don't do that right now, or we can keep it because that's what we aspire to, but,
Working
We wanna keep
document.
it And we want to aspire to, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
but if you
it's-
guys want to change it, because
No.
I'm not,
No, I think it's great.
Do you
But
really?
we need to do it.
you got a better mission statement, just throw it on there, because,
I might have some additions. I don't know if better. I think it's fine, but there was a couple, things that I thought. Like the "we," I just don't care for the "we," and
In the very first word.
our commission strives too.
yeah. I just, yeah.
I withdraw my initial remarks. It appears to me to be a very workable document with a few minor aesthetic adjustments, which I believe we can accomplish this evening.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
I was just afraid that we were gonna be here all night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I wouldn't do that to you.
I agree, John, with that. Kelly, read your missions, read the vision statements.
Vision or mission?
Well, I think, read both.
Well, the mission is we strive to create safe, beautiful, welcoming parks with diverse, affordable recreational opportunities for residents and visitors of all ages, backgrounds, and abilities to gather, play, and contemplate. I like that, but we need to be doing it.
Right. Put it up here at home.
What's our mission?
Wake up in
As
the
long
morning.
as it fits in the budget.
That's it.
And the vision statement, are we doing this? How are we promoting, how are we developing pride?
That's your job, Kelly.
I mean, I like it, we need to do it, is all I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, it's written down, so we have something.
And what about the quote, "Come for the water, stay for the parks"?
I thought that was a good one, yeah. I thought that was a good one
Would
for
that
us.
go under a mission statement?
You could have magnificent Manistee or amazing Manistee, come for the water, stay for the parks. Magnificent Manistee, come for the water, stay for the parks.
I like how you do that, Karen.
You do? You like that hand? That's when I'm flourishing. That's when I'm flourishing, yes.
I think that would be a good addition to the mission statement.
Okay, I
At the
agree.
beginning or afterwards, after.
And Liz and I were wondering if we could be more than an advisory board.
Like,
Jeff?
Sorry, can you say your quote one more time? I'm gonna write it down.
You could either use, I like magnificent Manistee, come for the water, stay for our parks.
Where would you put that?
Instead of, like, you're talking about in the vision statement at the end.
You can put it in the vision.
We can make it a motto.
I like
Yeah, that could be your motto, that could be our,
Another section for Manistee Parks
that could
Commission
be
motto.
something, that could be our
yeah,
branding.
motto,
That's our branding, that's our
Yeah,
branding.
Branding, it's
Yeah.
a,
That's our tool for branding.
Just insert a separate section.
Put
Motto, I like.
Motto.
Manistee motto,
Put that, where do you want to put that?
Parks motto,
First before the mission
Come for
or
the water,
after?
stay for the
third
park.
thing,
Third,
after
for
the
vision
vision.
statement?
There you go.
Come for the water,
Stay for the
I
parks.
think that's a good idea, yeah.
Okay.
stay for the parks or our parks.
I like the.
The, yeah,
Perfect,
Come for the water, stay for,
the parks.
yeah, the. Sounds good.
We want to say a city is judged by their parks. I mean, you don't see so many things in a city. You don't see their budget when you visit a town. You don't see their tax situation. You
No.
don't taste their water. It's, you see their parks.
What that does,
To a city, you see their parks, or you play tennis on their courts, or you whatever.
what that tells me
City, yeah, you stop at their beach.
is that the city,
It's judged, oh, this is a great town because there's trash on their beach.
yeah,
You know, I don't know.
but what
Well,
that tells
the
me,
motto says that that's what we're striving for.
Okay,
Come for the water, stay for the park.
then leave it, then we
This is what we're striving
Yeah.
for.
okay, that's enough then.
I mean, it doesn't mean we've accomplished it, we're always trying, right?
right,
Then the vision statement,
yeah, if we had
agree
every,
on that. And are we gonna say our commission or as a commission?
There you go.
On the first one, how were we gonna say?
oh,
our-
we said our commission strives to in the.
Okay, on the
mission
first one,
statement.
and on the second one, we were gonna say,
As a commission.
Perfect.
Too.
yeah, got it,
I like it.
I like it, and then just say what Kelly said, parks and playgrounds are the soul of a city. And that's the truth, and that.
That is very true.
We can attribute it.
No, just don't even
One-
put it in quotes.
No.
One thing I do want to say about when I go to different cities and see different park areas is that I can see that the government of different decades has actually, you can tell by how they value their citizens by how their parks are. Let's put
Because
it
that's how
that
you
way.
give back to your citizens.
Exactly.
To a park, I mean, that's the one thing you're providing, is free, fun, family activity, but you're giving them.
Green
something.
space, yes. Yes, exactly.
And if we're not gonna quote Marty, we could say.
I like everything.
are the park-
You did a nice job.
I like that.
You did a nice
I like
job.
that you said that.
Okay.
Karen,
Yes. More changes.
we don't have to quote Marty Rubin for that. If we put parks and playgrounds are the heart and soul of a city, like Liz said.
Oh, there you go.
I like that
Yeah, yeah.
better.
Are the heart and soul of the city?
Heart and soul.
Parks and playgrounds are the.
Someone told me that lived out of town and said that his neighborhood, where they lived, the neighborhood school, it was in Mount Pleasant, was the heart of the city, heart of the city. And I didn't forget that. When he said that, I thought that's neat. I mean, it's like everybody had pride in it, they went there for activities.
The heart and soul of the city?
Yes.
Yeah. That's all I have.
So. With the changes to the mission statement, vision statement, and adding a motto, are there any other changes anybody wants to see?
So, Jeff, you're saying she gives it to George Saylor at this point?
Well, if you adopt this, then it becomes the minutes,
Do that
you know,
first.
then it becomes part of, it's been approved by the Parks Commission
Right.
for these recommended changes, and then I'll forward it to the city manager and the city attorney for review.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Mayor Sullivan said she was just gonna put it on
Include
the
her in
agenda.
that too, because Jermaine's the one that actually brought this
Right, she told us
forward and requested. She was the one that encouraged us to
to put it on there. so-
yeah, so
I'm just telling you what the previous process is.
let's include
If
her.
it happens that way, that's
Let's
fine.
include her in on it, because she was instrumental.
Right, we're following her lead and,
So,
To expedite, why don't we just vote on it and then ask her?
Yeah.
And if she says no, then we go back to the drawing board.
Is, anybody want to make a motion to approve the new bylaws as we changed, with the changes as made tonight?
I will, okay.
you have more changes?
No, not at this point. I'll make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried to present this with the corrections. Thank you.
Nice job, Karen.
Karen,
And
very
then-
much. That's been,
Good job, and thank you very much for doing that, Karen.
okay, so we won't revisit this, but we'll put this on our
Oh, yeah.
table, so we read our mission and vision every morning.
We made it.
Just put that in, I'll have little cards made for you for the next one.
Put on it.
Maybe framed for every member.
I'll change it and email it to you guys, so y'all have
Okay.
can you copy,
Sure that you date
can you
it,
copy me on
draft.
that too?
draft.
Can you make sure that you put draft on it somewhere and put the date so that I don't put it in my pile of commission paperwork?
Do that little,
But it's not draft
Go
once
to
you
Word,
approve
do a
it.
header.
Oh, no, yeah, exactly,
You
exactly.
you have approved it. This is your recommended
And
changes.
I guess I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
I meant
so
like-
it won't be official until city council if they.
And that's fine, I just want a date on it somewhere so I know which one is the most current, because I had the 209 and I didn't know if we were actually,
I have sticky notes all over the.
yeah, I didn't know if we were actually working from that still. Okay, I
Okay.
thought maybe I.
Thank you. Disc golf grand opening and,
So my understanding is that we probably should put that on the city council agenda to present, that we want to do do we have to do that?
I don't think you do, no. But I think if you put an event together, certainly I will forward that to the city manager, who would, I'm sure, put that in a weekly update to council.
So just send an email to Bill?
You can send it to me or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
I think we're all set. We have to formalize some things. Want to work with the news advocate, obviously, to promote it.
let's reiterate, what date did we say?
May
May
20th
20th, 2023.
is our date.
Yep.
So trying to work with some food vendors, just waiting to hear some back. Try to come up with something like, I get with Tom, I gotta contact him because I want him to be a part of the grand opening. He'd be a little bit more well-versed in that. I just will try to coordinate everybody to do what they need to do, but Tom has been involved with this from the very beginning, so to exclude him would not be right, so.
No.
So I'll get ahold of Tom and then we'll get that going.
Did the sign get ordered, Jeff?
So I just talked with Tom last couple days. He's working on the format of that, and then we'll get it ordered. It should be, Amor's very good about turning that around.
So
So I don't think there's any issue with that on the May 20. We do have some trash receptacles and benches that I got price quotes from Sinclair, and I'll be able to wrap it all up into our order that we put before council.
So Jeff, then you and I and Tom should start communicating together, put that all together?
Yeah, I'd be happy to participate in that.
Okay.
And I think at some point you had talked about like T-shirts or something like that. That, to me, that would be a wonderful time for you guys to put some of your
Exactly.
logos, mission
Maybe the motto
statements,
on
the motto.
Yeah,
Let other people start believing in what your vision is too.
exactly. I agree. Good point,
We gotta
Jeff,
work on
thank
that
you.
quickly, you know. I mean, obviously, we have a T-shirt place here in Manistee that we can work with, but we gotta come up with a design. So, and then how we wanna incorporate that. I would think that we need to have that done by March.
Yes.
easily.
Yeah.
So, give me your input
Okay,
in the design, and I'll work with Tom and Jeff. We'll come up with something.
Okay.
Not too gaudy, just nice and simple. Should commemorate what we're doing. That was a big project.
It's a huge project, and I happened to see it on ESPN2 a couple Sundays ago. I always thought it was kind of whatever, not really a sport, people playing in their pajama pants, and that's not what it is. These were like amazing
Happy,
athletes,
yeah.
and it's quite the addition. I mean, if we can get one of those people at our grand opening and they're registered, and the sooner you're registered, the lower your number is, which is like a neat thing what you want to do with this professional circuit. The prize at that one was $35,000 that I was watching. It's actually become huge. There's many people registered in Travers and Muskegon that are pros registered, and they're amazing. I looked at those people and they're great athletes, and I thought,
Yeah, I have to
it's
say.
a cool sport.
I have to say, it has warmed my heart to see people out there playing
This
in
winter.
November, December, January.
Awesome.
Yesterday at that one down there.
Awesome.
And they had the bag that they carried all the different sizes of discs. They're into it. So
Is that a new one?
it was at the one on Cherry, the new one.
So, and you guys, we received a Minger grant, and one of the things that, the top 3 priorities in the Minger, one is winter activities.
Good.
So we played up heavy that this would be able to be used during the winter.
Yes.
And you can,
But it's awesome to be able to see that it actually is happening. And so then when I'm writing up, because I have to do, until we close the grant out, I have to do intermediate reports to the foundation on our progress. And to be able to say that it's working. We're not 100% done. We haven't got a full season out of it, but it's working already. It's really cool.
yeah, good.
It was a good project. Thank you, Tim, for your work on it, and Tim only. It was great.
Exactly.
Okay, someone else want to read those? Lainey was the story hour person, and the idea, John, was to collaborate with a few groups, and one of them was the library to offer for little kids story hour in the park this summer. Bring your blanket, and the mom and the child come down and they read at the beach or whatever park we select, and they just read. The librarian has agreed to do that.
Oh, great. Wow.
Very
And I
exciting.
think we just kind of have to pick some dates on that, basically.
And it sounds like we'd be the one doing the reading,
Well,
correct?
she offered if we wanted to, but she said, it'd be wonderful if we attended, and would come to a reading. So I think the librarian, they have a children's librarian here, the library's.
Exactly.
And,
Can I make a suggestion?
yes, Karen.
I was thinking, I know that she said that parks need to be closed because she'll be walking the kids. I understand that. The other, she used the Red Smarzik, veterans, and what was the other one? Did I say it wrong?
No, I've been saying it wrong and they criticize me. So it's nice to hear you.
Shishmarek.
Well, if
Shishmarek.
Say it again?
Shishmarek.
What he said. Schmear.
Shishmarek.
Like smear, smear, schmear,
Shishmarek.
schmear. Okay.
At least that's how my grandparents taught me to say it.
Merrick Park. Anyway, they have the disc golf there. So if that was one of the areas, I thought for a feeder program, what we need to do is read a book on disc golf there to the kids. So I looked online. There are children's books on disc golf. And it sounds like a really good. You want to get the kids excited about disc golf. We have it there. We want them to use it. So if they learn about it, the name of the book is Daddy Plays Disc Golf. And it's about a dad and his daughter. Now, I haven't read it yet, but what I've seen online, people love it, and the kids love it too.
I look forward to you reading it to us this summer.
With this voice, right?
Yeah.
The other kids are going to say, what? Anyways. It sounds really cool because what it does is it teaches the kids a basic terms of disc golf. And so then they can make a connection with their parents or somebody they know playing disc golf. And what it does is it might pique their interest a little bit, that they know a little bit about it, and as they grow older, may go to that park and actually play disc golf. And that would be my suggestion when we pick maybe books to read.
Idea.
Great
Look
idea.
at,
Sorry, do you know
Yes.
what age group they're thinking of?
I'm not sure about that either. This would be for little kids, but the book I'm talking about would be for younger kids. That part I'm not sure.
I think little kids that would come down there with their moms or
But-
grandpa and grandma or whatever.
The library staff should be able to identify tons of books if we can come up with, so that was just one idea I had there.
And maybe
That's-
get a little prize and give, draw or whatever.
How about a disc?
Give
How
them
about a disc for
Yeah.
a kid, you know, or do they make kids disc size? I'm not, you know.
Yeah, they're all different.
I would assume so.
Yeah, they do.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like kid size? That might be
Yes.
like super cool if we could give them a disc so they could start, you know, playing around with it. Just even in their backyard or whatever, you know?
Do we have any money budget for that kind of stuff?
Not as part of the project, we don't.
How about the money that we garner from the pavilion? Yeah. Is that something that we could tap into?
I would just be a little bit careful on that because we earmarked that money for the improvements of that place, and then I think you
True.
you're,
Let me back out of that. You're
because
right.
that's what we've been always focused on. What do we generate? What do we want to do over there?
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
start piecing it out and taking it out.
Okay, then here's another suggestion. How about Tom with his connections, figuring out how maybe he could help us?
He has mentioned that he may be able to get some donated discs or something from some companies. So I think Tim and I can meet with them and we can brainstorm some ideas, or anybody else that wants to be a part of it.
We'll find out what the cost is, see if we can get donations.
So then let's move forward. How many should we do in the summer? How many,
Well-
if we try? Because we can let Lainey get back with her and they can, I think I would like to see this, they're gonna do their summer schedule pretty soon. I'd love to see it on the library summer schedules so that we get a little publicity for that or whatever. Just-
Exactly.
So is it all right if Lainey just picks the dates with her? And
Yeah, no, that'll be fine. No, that would be great if she could, yeah, because she's got a nice connection there with library staff.
Yeah, and let her pick the park.
Absolutely.
So, I
But that was just a suggestion.
think the city marina would be kind of neat though, because sitting on that hill and the kids.
That would be
walk
cool
by.
as heck, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
And I like it out in the open where public, other, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the next thing, moving on.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
With a band shell.
movies in the park, Tim.
So,
Yeah.
looking into that a little bit and talking with other cities that have tried it, and they got shut down because it's got to be licensed, and when you show movies, and it's a little bit more technical than what
Really?
it is. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You just can't do something like that. The city of Kentwood, obviously, where I'm from, so I talked to their Parks and Recs program director, who's awesome, who's going to come up here sometime. She's got so much advice, kind of like
Cool.
your experience with
Cool.
what you have.
Okay.
So I told her what an idea we had with that, and she goes, "Oh, we had to shut ours down." And she explained why, and I talked to Liz about it. So the best thing would be obviously to work with the Vogue, you know, because obviously they're connected with all that. And so I got an email into Corey Fisher, who's the program manager.
Oh.
But I also don't know if I need to get with Steve Brower, who's the president of their board of directors for the Vogue. But I think it's just I'm asking just for a quick meeting to put it all together. It's not difficult. It's just to set up, like I said, we have the inflatable screen, we got the portable speakers. We just need the Vogue to help us out. working
I
on
did
it.
call Birmingham, I told you, that they use this, it's called Swank, and it is a licensing, they do have it licensed, and it wasn't cheap, but they showed them to like 500 kids, and it'll be way different for, you know, it depends on your movie. They're showing first-run movies to
Oh.
500 kids. Like at the Vogue, you know, it could be like a kids' film from 5 years ago.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. Or who suggested Jaws at the beach? Someone who.
Ooh, that would be fun.
I don't think.
Actually, Kendra suggested that. That'd be fun to do at
And it's all-
I think
dusk.
that would be fun. How about like a beach
So I thought
market
call-
bingo for us? So,
So,
you know, it doesn't have to be
Doesn't have to be kids.
kids.
I mean, it's after dark.
Recreation is for everyone. We can make it intergenerational.
Yeah,
So-
I think this has such potential.
I do too. Let's not drop it.
I think
No.
I love those movies.
our HOA in Virginia showed movies in the
Yeah.
park at our little community center by a pond every summer, every Friday.
Technically,
So
So-
Everything-
It can be done.
Yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
just-
everything has its rules, and obviously we have to go before the city council, I would suppose, and.
I don't think you would.
Not even on that?
No. It doesn't take any city services. You're just having a fun thing in the park.
It's
If you were
section 10 in
charging
the
or something,
bylaws, Actually,
what's that?
it's section 10 in the new bylaws, expand park and recreational opportunities through commission-sponsored events.
Yes,
Tim bought the
If they-
projector already.
he's got
We
everything.
got it. I mean, all
So-
we gotta do now is just get, and we might be able to
Approval.
sponsor for a movie.
Sure. Just two thoughts I had, because I think both of those programs are really cool. When the First Street Pavilion was built and designed, if you go down and look up in the center of the ceiling, there's actually brackets for a projector. And the community that went through, or the Parks Commission at the time that went through part of the formatting for that structure, envisioned having movies down there. Another location that I didn't hear mentioned, but both for reading to any groups or presenting to groups, is the pavilion on, or not the pavilion, but the band shell on the river. It's very intimate, it's very beautiful. Once we get the park upgraded, that's just another
Yeah.
possible site you could do it at.
Sitting on the hill, watching the movie?
Yeah, because you've got all that stage seating
Speaking of Veterans Park,
at Veterans Park,
because that
right?
was one of the parks that she had mentioned that
Yeah.
she would be able to walk through too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think by the time we meet in March, we should have some answers, you know, get some, because I would like the relationship of the Vogue. I would think that they would want to work with us.
Oh, I
on
would
that.
think so too, yeah.
And then I like the suggestion of sponsors, maybe popcorn, you know, Century 21 seems to be pretty involved, Boardwalk, I think, are they still Boardwalk? But I would start hitting people up, you know, for donations for that, so, but yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're moving on,
We're moving on.
we're making it
Let's-
happening.
Let's make that happen, because that would be.
Love it.
Budget, we haven't really done much with that yet, so we'll move on from that. The grants, I think we kind of discussed that. Is there anything additional on, I think, we
I don't think so.
in the Riverwalk, the proceeding, report on that?
Well, Liz and I are part of the Riverwalk RFP committee, and we met and walked the Riverwalk with 3 potential contractors. One proposal came in, one was late, and one didn't submit a proposal. Our committee met this week and scored the proposal, the one proposal that was submitted, and we will be meeting again to ask Fishbeck questions, correct?
Correct. And then interview them.
But it's moving forward.
Yes.
So, yes.
Yep.
Awesome.
So far on schedule.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
everything's good there.
Yeah.
New,
When you say Riverwalk, you mean the South Riverwalk, not
Yes.
the North?
The South River Walk, we received the EDA grant, so we've got about $1 million of improvements. So we're going through the process of hiring an engineer, and then the grant requires construction to begin by September 5th this year. It won't be completed till sometime in '24, but it's moving along. If you don't mind, I'll give you a quick update on the North River Walk. You know that we've applied for 2 DNR grants on that and have not received them. There's a couple things that we're looking at, but I think consensus of city staff and council is to submit again, try one more time. I think there was consensus by council to increase our cash match. That was a way that we could score some more points. But one of the things that inspired me from your last meeting was Mark Federer's presentation. And when he talked about that park and showed some of the history of it, and especially showed the roots of how the veterans started it. I mean, well, the men that were working on it had to stop because they went to war. You know, and then when the war was completed, then they were able to finish the park. The original hackberry trees that were planted along the roadway that Mr. Gilbert has made into canes for years. That's such an amazing story. So we've reached out to Mr. Federer and had him come up with some more pictures, more background, and we're going to try to sweeten our grant application with that richness of history and more ties to the veterans, and hoping that we can get that up past the finish line. The other thing that we found out through Spicer was there were a couple communities that came to the commission meeting in Lansing and proposed their project in person. And even though they didn't score in the funding range, they got funded. So we will be traveling to Lansing because we want that park improved.
Awesome, good.
So,
Thank you, yes.
New business, skating at Sands Park in the Teen Center, and they called and asked if we'd like to come since Teen Center and everything is in a park. So Kelly and I attended their meeting in Karen, and three of us went. It was spur of the moment. They called and said, "It's tonight. Would you like to come?" And I think I put it out there for everybody. Three of us showed up. It was
Awesome, thank you.
and the weather, skating at Sands Park, and Karen had an idea that we're just throwing this out. I mean, it's just we're not a decision making.
Coming from Northern Virginia for 10 years, and granted, it was a big city, there was ice skating outdoors at a shopping center from Thanksgiving through Valentine's Day. And they charged for it. It was a business venture through the parks. But I was curious if there's data on how many days a year our skating is actually open. Do you keep that data? Or
the
does
teen,
Sands
the
Park?
teen center keeps that data.
Okay,
It's-
so talk to Sheila maybe, but how many days do we actually have skating available?
I bet if we get 2 to 3 weeks, it's a good year.
So,
Yeah.
so I was curious, and I actually called the company that I know of that provided this at the parks back in Virginia, and got some ballpark ideas about what it would cost, because they do rentals and they do purchases, and is it feasible for a small town to even consider? Because wouldn't it be great to have ice skating and advertise there's going to be ice skating during the Sleigh Bell weekend in Manistee? But
I tell you, I mean, the work that we do in the parks, when you see people using the parks, it just gives you a good feeling, right?
Right.
I mean, you drive through
Beautiful.
the beaches in the evening at sunset, and so when I see the kids out there skating, it touches me. I love it. But my goodness, we put a lot of man hours into getting it there, and we get very little time, and then we got to start putting it away. So,
frustrating, because we totally missed it last year, my kids, because they happened to be sick the week that it finally froze over.
Yeah.
And then it seems like they just
Yeah.
got better, and it was already
Is
gone.
that a natural or is it artificial? Is there
so
cooling unit?
the way that the community has always done that was spray water on the grass and layer it until you could skate.
Okay.
I had the same conversation 10 years ago with Gary Neeson when he was the league parks person. And I said, we've got to find a better way. We've got to have a better shot at this. So we actually purchased the sideboards that surround it, a liner that goes in it. So now we're confining the water to a space, hoping that it freezes faster and we get more use out of it.
Thank you.
But it's Mother Nature. I mean,
Got it.
But it is pricey. It's very pricey, but I'm just curious if that's something the community would be interested in doing, if there was a rental or some kind of a purchasing of that kind of, it's some kind of piping that's under the
Yeah, it's
ice
artificial.
and the coolant that they pipe in with the refrigerator
Yep.
units, and
yep.
is that something that
So
would be
there's-
grant-worthy, or?
I know that the firm I worked for before, we designed quite a few of the skating rinks and all the refrigeration units and stuff. That's obviously very expensive, but there's also a synthetic material. There's a small skate park in Cadillac that you can skate on year round. It's small because of this material is very expensive, but I guess it feels like fake ice, I don't know. But I think if the Parks Commission has an interest in that and put some information, costs together, benefits, that's something that could be floated by city council and kind of taking the temperature on whether they thought that would be a community priority.
How about the grants you were speaking to with, I can't remember which one, with the winter activities?
Oh, the Minger grant.
So they're looking for winter activities, right?
Sure,
So they
yeah.
might be able to chirp in on that with some cash also. I'm just trying to think, I'm always trying to think of how to get some cash.
No, that's an excellent point because that is their priority.
Exactly.
Right.
And, you know, their limit is 100 grand, but maybe they would fund a multi-year commitment or something like that.
That would be sweet. The other thing is there any, professional hockey, what do they call it? Like their, feeder, what's their feeder program?
The NHL?
Yeah, the NHL,
The
is there
farms.
any up here, like are there,
Yes.
there are?
Traverse City.
We might wanna talk to them and see if they would be willing to help us out, cause they're always looking for players, aren't they? And you have to be practiced, and you can't practice without
Well,
ice.
but that does happen, and it happens at the West Shore College Ice Arena.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But what do we do for the kids out here that don't have it?
Yeah.
We need to provide for them.
But I think we can research that a little, even further. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but maybe they've got just refrigeration units that we can set in the bottom of what we're using now just to make it colder and help it along.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Actually-
we got 10 days of below 20-degree weather, and it froze up, and we opened it up, and it was wonderful. And we just kept layering it for over a week. Hit 40 degrees,
degrees,
gone.
yeah.
I mean, gone.
Well, I've got an email back from one company, and I spoke on the phone and got an email back from the second company they used in Virginia, and they said if we could give them sizes, what we were looking at, they could provide us with a quote on what.
So
something-
the rink that we have right now is 100 foot by 200 foot.
100 by 200.
You're gonna make me multiply.
Yeah, right, look at,
As far as square feet?
Yes.
It's 20,000 square feet.
20,000 square feet?
Yeah.
Okay, the one that they kind of gave me a ballpark on was 5,000 square feet.
and how
So
much
we
was
need
that
4
one?
times more.
Yeah.
I'll inquire about larger.
Does it have to be that size, or can we,
It can be
you
any
know?
size, but what is used.
That's a nice
Smaller.
size. That's a nice rink size
It's-
for an outdoor rink. I like that size. I mean, as a kid, I would have loved to have been on that.
Well, Karen, if you'd like, I mean, I'd be happy to look over that information with you, and we can kind of dig through it if you want.
Definitely.
Okay.
I love that.
Just let me know.
Okay.
One last thing, when we were at the teen center, one thing that came up, and maybe you could help and maybe not, the speaker isn't working, and when we went by there the other day and the kids were skating, they used to have blaring music out there, and it made it fun, and it made you notice it. And the girls said, our speaker doesn't work, and one of their husbands was gonna try to get it to work, but is there anybody that you have on your staff that's good with speakers?
Good with speakers. They do play loud music.
Girls wanted it, is there any, or do you have a speaker somewhere that would work? That's not
The
being
sound
used.
system was actually donated by my brother, and he used to go out there every year and set it up for them and take it down, but the equipment's still there, but
Okay, is that what they're still using? Good,
I'm not sure about the speaker.
okay.
That's cool. That was a nice
We'll
donation.
reach out to them and
Reach
see,
out to them and
see if there's
they
something we can
get it,
do.
Because it'd be nice to have music down there for other activities, even for their own little inside deal. It'd be good, and I think they'd appreciate that.
Okay.
Anything else that they want to brought up, Kelly?
I don't think so.
Karen?
Can I, we were talking, and this is totally off of this, real quick though, I'd like to say this, because in the area of the tennis courts at Sands, is there a way we could do a pump track for the bikes, for the BMXs?
To take out the tennis courts and?
Yeah, and the only reason why I say that could be a temporary thing, because you can always level it if it's not a good idea. But I was watching kids on that. They just go nuts on those pump, what are they, BMX bikes or whatever? Where they go over the moguls and stuff and the curves. That looked like a lot of fun. I wish I was, their age again. I'd try to do it with them.
I think the Shoreline Cycling Club built a pump park out at our non-motorized park.
Oh, there is
years
one out
ago.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'm gonna.
Because I remember we hauled a bunch of clay, the city hauled a bunch of clay out there, and Mickey's actually part of that organization. We make a note of that, and I'll talk to Mickey about it, and maybe we need to at least promote the resource that's out there a little bit more.
I had no clue that was out there. I will
Yeah.
go out and look at it. But I mean, is there a way we could bring it in closer to down, you know, closer to town?
That's on the agenda.
I'm sorry, okay.
No, go ahead, Karen.
I just,
No, that's
I
perfect.
didn't want to
The
forget
question
about
was
that.
What to do with the tennis courts.
Okay, so that would be my idea. It could be temporary because you use a lot of dirt. It can be leveled when you actually have something to put in place there. But on a temporary, at least you're involving other kids maybe that have bikes and maybe don't go up to the parks.
So
But
the,
would invite them up with a pump track?
yeah, so the city council, at a work session, I think it was in January, but they kind of went through budget priorities, and there was a number of items that had been discussed, and one of the items that came up was the tennis courts at Sands Park. So you're okay if we just go into that?
Yeah, and I'm
So the city manager asked, I think the consensus on city council is removal is necessary and needs to be done this year.
IP, yeah.
First of all, we got to take them out because they're unsafe and they're unsightly and they're dangerous. So I got a number, just a rough number from a local contractor. It was about $18,000 to $20,000. So I think that
Take them out.
to take it out and dispose of everything. So I think that's going to be programmed in as a budget request to council this upcoming fiscal year. But the mayor had asked, but what's the long-term
Right.
improvement and what's the short-term improvement? The short-term improvement could be what you're suggesting.
Okay.
I think somebody approached this group about the race cars or the RC cars.
RC cars, I thought could, yeah.
And then Mayor Sullivan also suggested maybe we just truck in some beach sand and put up some volleyball courts until we can find the funding to put tennis courts or whatever the community decides to put in there.
Is that the best place? It gets back to having a master plan.
Right,
If
exactly.
they're gonna put a sidewalk along Robinson on the east side, which is right along adjacent to the tennis courts, then they don't have room for bleachers, and if we did put 4 tennis courts there, then we would be able to hold a sanctioned high school tennis meet. So then you have to say, is that really where we want that? And I don't know the answer to
Yeah,
that. I'm
exactly.
just saying.
That's where the master plan,
Master plan comes in,
exactly.
you say,
I believe personally, a school system needs 8 courts to properly hold their matches. 4 there, 4 at the beach is how they've did it when I was in high school.
has to be 8.
So that could happen again, but I think it needs to be a central facility. And personally, I really think the school needs to provide that.
Great.
And I had conversations with them just years ago before we refurbished the ones at First Street Beach. And I think the school has that desire. At the time, they were funding the construction of the new track and basically saying that they couldn't afford to do it. But we had provided them cost estimates. I even personally worked on site plans on this current school property. And then there's 2 lots across the street, across 12th Street, that are right next to the old track that were pretty inexpensive that I thought could be utilized for a tennis complex. But that's just my personal feelings.
Courts?
They need 8, yeah.
Yeah.
Could be
They could use.
competitive.
That, I asked the tennis coach and like if you had the 4 at First Street Beach, you know, and the kids just took 4 enough to play at First Street and the other kids played, if you had 8 total in your community.
If you have 8, you can split it.
You
yeah.
could split it. If we had 4 at the high school, they could offer tennis during their gym classes.
It would be nice to have 8 at the school.
Sure,
That would be wonderful.
if you can afford it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the commission needs to come up with a long-term solution to that space. But I would anticipate that we're going to remove those existing courts. And I think the council's looking for your feedback on what could we put there at least on a temporary basis? And then what would your long-term recommendation be?
I would like to see a concrete skate park, is what I would like to see there. There's a skate park there now, but it's not what a skate park should be. And I think that would be a really cool.
Like Ludington.
Yes, and like Grand Havens. I mean, my son was at the skate park every single chance he got, and then they'd walk downtown, and they had a blast.
In Grand Haven.
Oh, that's a
In
good
Grand Haven.
idea, too.
and skated skateboarded in my office. Yerson didn't do that.
No, no, we didn't
They
even
don't
that.
have a place to skate, they ruined our whole sidewalk too at the
Yeah,
office.
they do that shredding
Got
or
no
whatever
place.
down, yeah. So I
Well,
didn't.
that's where we need to plan a little bit, what we'd like to see and where. I don't think just piecemeal everything, and so get the tennis courts out and maybe for now put in some temporary thing. They're unusable as they are, so.
They're unsafe.
they need-
Yeah.
They're
when
really
I drove by them
unsafe.
today, they look.
And I think I've told you guys, when we were building that storage shed to be able to put all the ice rink equipment in, I was there a couple times, and when the kids came home from school, they went to the teen center, they got rackets and balls, and, I mean, they were having a blast up there. So I hate to lose that resource, but we gotta find a way to fund new improvements.
When we went to the Sands Park meeting, we asked them what their opinion was about the tennis courts, and
Sure.
you probably already know that they want them, they want to keep them and have them refurbished.
Oh, okay.
They said the kids really love to play on it, and
Yeah, and to be clear, they cannot be refurbished.
Oh, I agree, Jeff.
Right,
They're
or
not
replace.
refurbished, it's way
The-
past that.
They'd have to be reconstructed.
It's way
Exactly.
past that, yeah. And there's only, how many there, 2?
There's 4.
Are there 4?
Four,
Yeah.
yeah, two,
Okay.
and two, right.
We can talk. We can think more about that.
Okay.
And go from there. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Any other additional summer activities? We talked about like a night skate, that, someone going out there studying the stars, teaching a little astronomy, like at Man-Made Lake some night. We're just trying to get, is anybody interested in that? Want to check and see if they know someone, or do we have enough going for this summer? What's everybody's thoughts?
Traverse City has a, what did I see there?
They have that.
Dark sky kind of thing.
Yeah, it has to be, yeah, it's gotta be pretty dark too. I mean, I would love to see a dark sky somewhere in this area, but you can't have any light pollution at all in order to view the stars, so.
how is it over at Man-Made? I mean, there's
That's,
I was kind of
along the
thinking.
beach, right? But
Yeah, just, and I don't know if that'd be the right spot, just someone that came out and taught something on constellations and just kind of pointed out a few things for kids and maybe brought a telescope and
that would be cool.
talk a little bit
yeah.
about asteroids, and maybe it'd be some night that there's some comet or something.
And don't be alarmed of the
The UFOs?
yeah, the line of UFOs going through the sky.
Right, yeah.
If you've seen those, first time I saw it freaked me out.
Elon Musk.
The Elon Musk
Starlink.
satellites.
Yeah.
What is it?
Starlink?
Starlinks.
I have a picture of that.
Oh my gosh, once you see that, it's just blows your mind.
They had them last summer, I
I like
I
that.
love that happens all the time.
Traverse City has an maybe not an
Yes.
observatory. They do have an observatory, that,
This would not be quite that.
right.
No, no,
But I mean, yeah, to get kids interested in
Yes, just a little.
astronomy and, yeah, yes.
Something to do at night. Anybody want to check on that?
I can see if there's any science teachers.
Yeah, if that's someone's hobby, it doesn't have to be a big, just something.
No, just,
Anyone who does that?
I might know one person. She'll
yeah,
want.
didn't you
I
say
was
that
I was
somebody
gonna I was gonna save this to the end, but I have to share it with you.
I'm excited.
Our meetings are normally not
Where
this
the
long.
heck is
No,
it?
John, don't get discouraged.
But they're
This is a
fun.
long one.
They're fun.
I'm still awake.
Yeah, they're not boring.
Then he's sitting next to me, oh my. Oh my, yeah, wait till next meeting, he'll be way over there.
So, this was something I was saving until we were completed.
Ooh. Ooh.
But that is
I like it,
the
whatever.
bottom of that is a 4-foot by 4-foot fire pit.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And the city manager gave an image, something similar to this.
That is cool.
And our welder fabricator, Tanner Liston, built that this winter. He also built the signature hole on the disc golf course. So
Too, yeah.
it's got mesh sides on it. It's got a heat-proof handle to open it up. He's going to paint it. But our anticipation is, when you said night, I had to do this. Set this or maybe multiple of these in locations in the city for people to have gathering points. So if the ice would have stayed in the ice skating rink, I was gonna put this out at the ice skating rink and put some bench or picnic tables around it and let people have a little place, you know. Another thought I had was during Sleigh Bell, when we close down that block of River Street, we've got the Christmas tree. We can set this out in that space and just let people have a gathering space. Bill has an idea of a place on the Riverwalk where this could go. I think during the summertime, this could go as an example at First Street by the Rotary Gazebo, so in the South Loop. But I anticipate that this is going to be successful.
I like
and
it.
we'll kind of build some more variations.
Who's the one that provides?
I've never
yeah.
seen anything like that. Who designed that? Where'd you come up with the design?
I'm telling you, we got an.
Pardon?
Creative guy.
Oh, really?
There's similar stuff online, not a lot.
Yeah.
So I just went to Tanner and I said, let's brainstorm it, let's come up with a concept, and he whipped it together. Now, to answer your question,
Who provides the wood for it?
Yeah.
Oh, you got plenty of it. Can I make do you know that they make those kiosks?
signature?
Those standalone solar kiosks that dispense wood, firewood?
Where did the firewood come from?
so I've got these baskets ordered, and my intention is to have a half a dozen of these baskets that we will fill with firewood that we have split from our forestry work.
Okay.
When we cut trees down in the right of way, we've got a bunch of firewood. We literally put a couple guys out there for a couple days and split it. But I'm not planning on providing that wood every day for people. But when we have special events, during the Sleigh Bell Festival, we're gonna put one of those crates down there and let people enjoy that weekend. At the ice skating rink, I could see supplying the wood for that. If I put it at a beach, we would go through that so fast and people would steal it. But I think for special events, this would be cool. So I kind of want to let you know that we are starting something. I think there's more opportunities. So if you think of different places or
And we can move it.
maybe the marina, absolutely. Like that would be a wonderful place if I was a boater to, you know, so
So you're only gonna have one and move it around?
we built one and then I anticipate we're going to build more.
That's what I thought you
In the
said.
future.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how much did it cost to build that, to fabricate that?
Well, the labor's absorbed by my operating budget. We probably have about $1,000 of steel into it right now.
That's not bad.
The most expensive thing is
That fabric, that,
the wire mesh.
yeah, the mesh, the fabric, yeah.
However, Harbor Steel
That is cool.
ordered 10 4x8 sheets of this special steel, and their customer didn't pay the bill, so they didn't ship it to them. So they sold it to us at just over their cost.
Wow, that's awesome.
So good partnership with them. We do a lot of business with them, but yeah. And I also we're going to try to come up with like a silhouette of the city logo or something, Manistee.
Yeah,
So when
that'd be
people from out of the community are here, then and they're enjoying that, they've kind of got that reminder that, you know, maybe we can even put part of your slogan or something on it, or
I think weren't they like $999 on Wayfair? But
they were well over $2,000.
on Wayfair?
Yeah, well over
Okay.
$2,000
But I was gonna say.
for
this-
for ones that size.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is beautiful, tell them, it's,
Yep.
yeah, and the city of Midland had these downtown with 4 Adirondack chairs placed throughout. And
it's
the
spring
people,
like.
the kids were always, you know, the families were sitting around them, it was neat to see.
Awesome. I like it.
Very cool.
I never have either.
Thank you.
I like it. Keep
So
that-
I just thought nighttime activity,
Yeah.
that
no,
could be
that
one
would
of them.
Yeah, that would be another addition, absolutely.
and I'm gonna look up kind of well, I won't, never mind.
Offensive, not offensive.
Move along.
Okay,
That's
the
fine.
next thing, real quick, the bathrooms near the marina, the city did paint those, Larry's been working on them, they look clean, bright, nice, Kelly? else?
Well, we're just putting together how we want to decorate them, and I'm getting the prices for you as we speak.
Yeah, so Mickey told me today that Larry finished etching the grout floors.
Oh, good.
Larry finished that, so
When you say etching, is that?
Etching?
I think he used muriatic acid on it.
Good, so they look, then you have
He showed me a test pattern that he did Monday, and in it, there's nothing else that's gonna clean it and bring that
Oh.
grime look out of it. So I haven't seen him today, but Mickey said he finished the men's and women's.
excellent.
I thought he said they unlocked them today, or they will be tomorrow, but they're still pretty smelly from that etching.
Do you have to seal it, the grout then?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I'll have to check.
Because I think you really do, and then it really helps
Yeah.
seal it, it stays cleaner. Those bathrooms are so used, that's another,
Oh, yeah.
another sign of the city that people really notice. Every time I've gone for a walk, especially when they're locked, you see the cars pull up, especially like contractors and men. They jump out of there and then all of a sudden they see it's locked, and it's like those,
And walkers.
yes, that's like,
So we absolutely have to do commercial grade lighting. We can't.
I would never justify anything short of that. Those things get so beat up and abused.
But if it gets beat up, is it gonna matter whether it's commercial or, I mean, doesn't it get ruined regardless of the grade?
You know what, I would say I think the same thing applies to your basketball court
Okay,
conversations.
all right.
Do you know what I
Commercial
mean?
grade is gonna be like 4 times the price though.
Yeah.
Always, always.
Okay.
Yeah. Always.
I'll keep looking.
Sorry, is this for lighting in the bathrooms?
Yeah.
Lighting, oh,
we'll update.
wall
it.
lit, like,
Well, she's picked out some nautical like lighting fixtures and
cool.
some decals, which I think the decal would be pretty cool.
And that they should stick on the wall, it shouldn't be damaged.
They have it ready.
I think they're updated, they look nice, Larry did an excellent job,
They look very fresh.
they look fresh and
Fresh,
clean.
right?
And the decals, they're just vinyl. They're
Yeah.
cheap. They're cheap.
Yeah.
They're $14.
But they'll last, they'll last, they'll be, and if they don't, pay another $14.
They're inexpensive. Yeah. Not cheap.
The Harbor Commission, you want to update on that? We went to the Harbor Commission because the marina is actually in the park. So there's a little joint effort there, and they were super receptive. Kelly, you want to update on that?
Liz and I just did a presentation as to how we could make the marina look better and potentially make it more profitable. And we put together a list of things that we thought would look better in the marina and their prices. So right now, we also talked about affordable or creative funding. So I am now going to the merchants downtown and soliciting funding, and they're pretty doggone receptive.
Oh, really?
Like the new furniture.
Because I was able to watch most of the DDA meeting, and I was really appreciative that they seem supportive of the concept.
They are.
I know,
They are.
that was nice.
Yeah,
Everybody's on board.
And I already have checks written.
awesome.
Good. Awesome.
So,
Good job.
He's already taken some of those bulletin boards down, and the TV, it's where things are moving along there.
so I know you guys have gotten frustrated with me when I try to make sure that every commission knows what the other one's doing. And you've heard in this community forever that we tend to operate in silos instead of together. So it's very refreshing that we've got Parks Commission, we've got,
I like it.
They're
the
really
Harbor
trying.
Commission, we've got
That's
the DDA, we got
Yes.
City Council,
Yes.
The
starting to
library,
work
the museum,
together.
The
Yes.
movie theater,
Yeah.
that's, collaboration is our,
Right, but that's
one
what
of
I was
our
gonna
goals.
say. I mean, I think we'd get further. if
Yes.
all these commission and
We can make it
boards
better together.
Collaborate.
Exactly.
Right.
Making it better together.
working.
That's a good one.
yeah.
Making it better together.
So, but that takes a lot of effort, and I appreciate what you guys are doing on that.
Oh, thank you. Last thing is porta-johns, and that's just, when you go to order them, if they could be the same
So
color
we had a conversation with this.
and a light color.
Mickey had talked to our supplier last year, and there's a, part of the plastic material that they're making porta-johns out of today is graffiti proof. The plastic resists paint and whatever. He didn't have enough gray graffiti proof ones to put in our parks because they were already out dispersed with other customers. Most of those come back in during the winter. So we've got to call into them saying, as you start deploying into the city parks, sure would appreciate some gray ones coming in.
Orange.
And Mickey said he seems pretty receptive, so
Yes.
hopefully, I'm not promising, but we're working to get towards that.
Good.
At least they could be cohesive in the same color, say, they were orange in front of the beach, where we have the red at First Street and the red
Right.
looking at the Coast Guard, so yep.
Right.
And they did have little, I saw Crystal Mountain had, like for First Street, where we have weddings and family reunions, they had like a stall and a quarter, or stall and a half, they were slightly wider, even if you had two of those, if they were the same color down there, just so you could get in there with a wedding gown or whatever, you know?
Wheelchair even, right? Don't they have
Wheelchair,
ramps?
some
Yeah.
Those are pretty small, some of those, but anyway, just a thought. One last thing was, who would, the amphitheater for First Street Beach, they want to do a feasibility structure, or a feasibility study, and I think it'd be mainly selecting the firm that would do this study, but you would probably follow through on that a little bit, it probably would be a continuous thing.
So we've been working on trying to get a stage and performance venue at First Street Beach for a number of years. It's very expensive, but I think it would be a wonderful addition to the community. So the city has budgeted funds and is going to use some of our ARPA funds to fund a feasibility study that should tell us how big should this be, you know, what type of entertainment can we expect to have, how would this thing cash flow itself, and kind of get into the nitty gritty instead of, well, we want this cool picture. And so I think what Bill was asking for is if the Parks Commission was interested in having a representative be a part of that committee.
And I appreciate being asked, because that's what we want, to be included from the beginning, so that was
Oh, that's awesome.
thankful to be included. Does anybody want to be on that amphitheater? Is anybody? Is that
Because my husband's already on it, I don't want to be. Somebody else can.
What does it entail? Help me.
Well, we're going to select a firm, so we're putting out an request for qualifications and then a price proposal.
Okay.
And then I think it's going through that process, kind of like we're doing with the Riverwalk upgrades. So selecting that firm and then engaging that firm in the study and then getting feedback once that study's completed.
I wouldn't mind throwing my hat in the ring for that, if you'll have me.
I don't think it's a huge time commitment.
No, it's, okay.
I mean, if there's a meeting.
That would be my concern.
If there's a meeting you have to miss or can't be at, I would go.
Yeah.
Or we'd get a substitute. So
Okay, yeah.
And not that I don't want to be on a committee with my husband, but we talk about it all
Well-
the time as it is, yeah. Conflict of interest,
Yeah,
yeah.
you talk about it all the time.
Your husband's part of the
Let me see if I can-
Salt City Rock and Blues, correct? Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
part of the committee, so. Can we talk about the community?
So Jeff, you'll keep me
The community?
included?
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll let the city manager know that you'll be the representation from the parks, and then you'll get included in everything.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Go ahead. Kelly, last thing is community feedback.
Yeah, so Manistee Proud put out a survey of questions, or a survey asking for some comments from the community as to how our parks could be better, or commenting on the parks that we have currently. And I emailed everybody the comments, and I thought they were very informative.
Loved it.
And I just want to say that I think that we should always include the public somehow and get their comments and their concerns, because there's a lot of good stuff on here. Stuff that maybe we hadn't thought about.
Exactly.
You know, different people see different things, and I think we need to always, and one was containers for returnables and recyclables.
I love
which is
that. I love it.
Who came here and talked tonight. So I just think we should always be asking the public questions, because we need to know what their thoughts are.
Thank you for doing this, Kelly. Appreciate it.
And I think we should.
I love feedback.
Yeah, I enjoyed reading those. It gives you a good perspective, I think.
For sure.
Liz, I have one update. I know
Fine.
it's a long meeting. So I have reviewed the 75% complete design drawings for the First Street Beach Loop. If you remember, we're using brownfield tax capture from the hotel to fund upgrading the loop at First Street Beach. I have the 90% review the final review next Wednesday, and it will be out for bid in March. So essentially what we're doing is starting at the fish cleaning station, and we're gonna grind the pavement off of the loop all the way around to the roundabout and repave it, restripe it, and then
Curb it?
there will be a short section of curb adjacent to the lower parking lot at the end of First Street. But that's the only location. Well, that's that there. And then once you go south of First Street, between First Street and the parking lot, we're gonna curb that section to kind of keep traffic moving through there. It's fairly wide, but when cars park, they park in the sand and it causes congestion. And we also recognize there's gonna be a tremendous amount of foot traffic from the hotel going back and forth. So one of the things that is in our, has always been in our agreement with the hotel was that they were going to provide new parking spaces for that beach area. They made a curb cut into the boat launch parking lot as overflow, and that's public parking, so anybody can park there. We can't obligate that, but we said if you put an offset and actually created more, so they're creating 28 new spaces, they're paying for that as part of this project. And then there's sections like by the dog park that are so wide, we added parallel parking on both sides, but we're gonna be able to add angled parking without
That's
expanding the
way
footprint.
better. Awesome.
So there'll be a 12-foot drive lane down the center, which is wider than driving down a highway. But there'll be different parking. Some of it will be expanded with the hotel's money. Some of it is just, I've been working really hard with the engineers to sneak in as many more spaces as we can. And it looks like we're at about a net 45.
Nice.
All at the same cost as just paving the road.
So will there be angled parking all the way on each side of the road, all the way down to the roundabout, or just by the
No,
top?
it will be, the road will stay in the same configuration, one exception. When you leave the Lions parking lot, that's kind of a half moon parking lot, right? When you leave that, we're gonna put a curb cut opposing that to get into the larger parking lot.
So there's two new curb cuts
There's already one. This will add a second one.
Okay.
Because the only two that exist are right by the fish cleaning station. So my feeling is that parking lot is huge. It's not used enough, but I think as we start filling up that beach area and it becomes more popular, people will have easy access in and out of that parking lot, and there's plenty of space in there. Once you get to past the kite flying area, if everybody follows me, you've got that lower parking lot. We've got a lot of erosion that happens, so I want to curb that and control the stormwater. We're going to rebuild that lower parking lot, so we're going to square that up and make that a little bit easier to use. Once you cross First Street, then there will be curbing on both sides, just rolled curbing. The hotel's putting a sidewalk on the east side, so it will wrap their entire parcel there. And also, we're gonna take the gray decorative lights that we have along First Street, and we're gonna replace the big consumers poles and the Cobra lights with that decorative lighting until you get to about the dog park, so that stretch. Once you hit the existing parking lot to the beach and where the beach house is, there will be angled parking on the left side until you get to the first pavilion. Then it'll be parallel around the corner. But after the dumpster corral, we will have angled parking on that up to the dog park, through the dog park, and that angled parking will continue all the way through the end of the tennis court area. I was really hoping to push it even further, but we don't have the funds for that. So, but I think it's something that we can still
Add on.
do in the future, yeah.
How many spaces did you say the Hampton's gonna use out of that one?
28?
Hampton is paying for a net 28 new spaces.
Okay, but so they don't have any designated spaces in that?
They will not, never have a designated.
Okay.
Our parks are charter protected,
Okay.
so,
So the carnival and everything will still use
yeah.
that? Good.
Yep,
Okay.
there will never, we will not stripe or designate
Good.
hotel-only spaces, no. And in fact, if you watch James Boudry's podcast, he did an interview with the CEO of 6 PM Hospitality, who's developing that, Peter Bukema. And Peter said online, our guests start leaving at 6 in the morning and they're gone by 10. People come to the beach, the heaviest uses at the beach is 11 to whatever, 5. And our guests start showing back up from 4 to 6. So he said, the public's welcome to use the hotel parking lot and grab a cocktail on your way through.
Yeah.
So,
But you said the space is net 45, is that what you said? total?
net 45, yeah.
Okay.
So yes. So I just want to let you know that that's getting close to construction here in the next couple months. And I'm hoping to have it substantially complete by Memorial Day and final completion mid-June, and we'll be ready to go.
who is did you already pick the contractor?
We haven't bid it out. It'll go out for bid in about a week and a half.
When does that start? When did you say it started? It will start?
We're going to put it out for bids in a week and a half.
Okay, but construction, you don't?
All right, so if we bid it in beginning of March, we'll probably have a council award, say, 1st of April. And then, by then, the frost law should be off, the contractor can mobilize in, so they have April and May really to build it.
Wow. Great,
Okay.
that's all good news.
Okay, John, roundtables, if there's something that you want to say briefly, you can go around if there's something not mentioned. So that's what we're going to do now. Karen, anything you want to add?
No, I think I'm all set. The only thing I was thinking of is maybe creative partnerships somewhere in the mission statement. Or forming creative partnerships or working on, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, not your traditional partnerships, but like for the Vogue Theater with the library, trying to, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what the verbiage is.
I don't know if we want to put that in now, we just.
Yeah.
Well, I think that section that Karen read and kind of says that.
Okay, we're good then. Move.
Well, I mean, it says creating new programs and,
Yes, it does.
Also, thank you for asking me, a very enlightening meeting, and it sounds very encouraging, all the progress that's being made. And those little fire pits, man,
Those are cool.
I mean, I think that's gonna be huge. You know?
well, Dr. Veach, one of the things that I talked about earlier was the master plan for the beaches and how the kids were involved. And they asked all these adults in this room, give us some fire pits. We never had them on the beach, never allowed a fire on the beach before. And we put 4 of them out there, cost us $700 to buy them. They were used, you could never find one that was empty, so we bought 4 more. And my God, what a great asset, I think.
Oh, yeah, we've seen
Yes.
people down there all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say we're happy to have you on board. Thank you for
Yes.
Well, thank you.
being on board. I wanted to mention that I spoke with the old JCs that designed the band shell, erected the band shell. They are willing to clean that up.
Oh, cool.
And so they're getting a group together right now as we speak. And they were wondering about the lighting. They said there's some really cool lighting there that isn't working. Do you know anything about that?
I know we did some work on it a few years ago to get everything, all the electrical redone.
I guess it hasn't been working. So they were hoping that once they power wash it and edge and do all the stuff that they need to do, if the lighting would work, that would be the icing on the cake.
Well, I was a couple years behind that when I was in the J.C.'s, but I know some of the people that worked on that. Let's just talk maybe later, and
Okay.
I can get in touch with them, and then I can have Top Line look into it ahead of time.
Okay, we were even talking about going further, but if you're talking about a grant, then we'll stop at the band shell.
Well, yeah, because we've got a $500,000 project to revamp that park, and it needs it. I'm embarrassed by that park.
We were gonna get a group of people together to see what we could do for,
In the interim,
yeah.
well, that would be very welcome, because even if we got a grant, we wouldn't be able to expend construction dollars for 2 years.
Okay, perfect then, yeah, then we'll continue.
You know what I mean? Or a year and a half.
And there's another group that's doing the median, wants to do the meeting. They're contacting the Olson Foundation right now. There's a meeting.
Oh, I've been in contact with him, and, yeah, I've talked with Gordy, and I just had a meeting with our engineers, because we just did that construction. Number one, I didn't want to violate any of our warranties or our contractual obligations. And then number two, I just wanted to get their feedback. So I need to reach out to him. I'm going to write him down.
We're gonna be meeting on Monday.
Yeah, tell him, well, I'll get a hold of him, because we spoke and exchanged some emails, but basically, what for your information, there was just a flat curb pan all along the whole, which dollar one is it? Dollar,
Isn't it Family Dollar?
Family Dollar. There was just a curb pan across that whole thing, so it was like a 150-foot driveway opening. So to make it safer, we reduced that down and put curbing along there and this short piece of grass. Well, if you drive by there, everybody's leaving Dollar General and riding through the grass and hopping the curb. So what he's proposing is to remove the topsoil that's there and to plant natural flowers and grasses into a rain garden.
Perfect.
So for me, that takes all that water that's coming off the parking lot, which is great, but I think it also adds a vertical aspect to it, so the vehicles won't be jumping that curb. And that would be way better than orange cones and signs and, so, yeah, I forgot to contact him today, but we just went over in our engineering meeting yesterday, and I think we're good to go.
Great, perfect, good, that's it.
Just want to say I appreciate everybody on here. This is a great commission, and I think stuff is getting done with everybody working together. We're making some headway, so thank every one of you. Karen?
Yes, because Jeff is here, I wanted to kind of ask, when we went to the city council meeting, Kelly, they mentioned something about Fifth Avenue Beach doing some renovations and fixing up the wall
Yeah.
that is down there, and I made a comment to Kelly, and I want to make it to you, that is it possible, because you were talking about doing concrete on that wall, can you stain the concrete to match whatever, or paint whatever you did to the beach house there? Can it match the coloring, so it's just not a...
Yeah, I think you can color the concrete, you can texture it. I think there's a lot of options for that.
We could get it to look similar versus...
Yeah, council asked us for budget numbers, and that'll be considered as part of that budget process.
Okay, just my 2 cents, thank you.
I got a whole list. No, I just joke.
Start at the top, Tim.
I'm all good. I did notice though that, I don't know if you saw, Kelly, that Instagram had Manistee Proud on there. They're really promoting what you guys did. Someone posted it, like the beginning, the changes and all that. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's pretty impressive.
There you go.
I don't
I
know.
forget what group posted it, but we have a new group in town where you've been around for quite a while. So, but making changes, and they actually posted it and went all over the place. It was really nice.
Very
It's
nice.
reflective of your efforts, so which is nice. But they did before and afters, like tons of pictures on there. If I can find it, I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, please do, no, I haven't seen it.
But it was very cool. So, awesome job. So, other than that, make a motion to adjourn, or Jeff?
I got one more thing, and I wish Mickey was here tonight, but Mickey was informed by the MRA that the Parks Department, so he and his staff are receiving the Charles Shadle Award
Nice,
by the MRA next Monday.
very nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
What is it for?
Outstanding citizen and
something like that, yeah.
contribution to recreation.
To the community, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, excellent.
Is that gonna be presented to him at some point? Is there a ceremony?
City council?
Their meeting is Monday, so I think they're doing a dinner and kind of their annual awards dinner kind of thing.
Very nice.
Does he know? Yeah, obviously he knows.
Yeah, he knows.
Obviously, it's on TV.
He had another obligation tonight, but
Very
Okay,
nice.
Motion to,
I make a motion, Drew.
I second.
Very good. Nice job, guys.
thank you.
You coming back?
Karen, are you staying?
The key thing is.
I think it stopped.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Just